Oh, yeah, we're ready to go. We're chomping at the bit today. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., and a man who has been suffering. That is Matt Scraby. It is 2:01 as we start our Friday get-together. Finally a Friday here on Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports talk station. 97.3 The Fan. Baseball, Padres, nothing new. Basketball, Aztecs, off for another week. Football, Aztecs, pretty much had the news yesterday. Danny O'Neal deciding to head into the transfer portal.
I heard he's eyeing Wisconsin, not Purdue.
All right. But all of that stuff is kind of old news. I thought we'd start with something San Diego related before we start ripping apart Scraby.
No, we don't need
We got a long time to do that.
Scrabe, I mean, the thing is...
This is a Northern California team. We don't need to talk about it.
Scraby's lucky that, I have to exit a little bit early today. Otherwise, this would be...
just a 4-hour...
How do I get to have Tony's treatment where the Lakers look bad and then he doesn't talk about them?
The Lakers...
Let's not talk about them.
If we're being honest, I think the reason why that happens is because I'm not in here, touting... Lakers.
Boasting.
Yeah, I'm not in there doing that.
Yeah.
You, on the other hand, my friend, which, don't get me wrong, I enjoy when you do it because I also know what's coming on the backside of that usually.
You had a quote yesterday that stuck with me all night.
Which one was that?
You said, gosh, what did you say? Now it's leaving my head. But you said something like, I have a feeling this isn't going to work out for you, Scrabe.
Not going to end well.
It didn't work out for you.
End well.
Scrabe, you have your choice. It's either now, you can pay me now or you can pay me later. But either way, you're paying.
One way or another,
you decide. Before we get to that, though, I want to wish good luck to our high school football teams that are competing for the state championships.
Yes, sir.
Starting tonight. First up, Lincoln High taking on Pittsburgh High School. They're the Northern California champ, Division I AA. The game is at Saddleback College in Orange County tonight at 8 o'clock. Look, there's worse things you could do than go on up to Orange County and cheer on Lincoln High. Good luck to the Hornets tonight up there as they go after their state championship. Also at 8 o'clock tonight, El Capitan High School, the Vaqueros.
Is in
Ryan Lindley's high school take on Carmel. That is at Fullerton Union High School District Stadium, which is a really long name, but I assume it's in Fullerton. That is the 5AA championship. And then tomorrow, we wish the best to Monte Vista High School as they go in the 6A championship game against Somerville High School that will also be played in Fullerton. Look, good luck to all of those teams. I mean, we got, a bunch of negative stuff, and everybody's down and out right now, and the Padres, and everything's down. I said, look, let's cheer for our kids this weekend. So good luck to all three of those teams as they go after the football state championships. With that said, we get underway, and we got a good show lined up, as always, on a Friday afternoon. Forgive us if our minds are a little elsewhere. Tonight is our Christmas party, our office Christmas party.
That's why I actually got dressed today.
Right, Tony's dressed up. Look at him.
He's in here naked every day. He got dressed today.
He's got buttons on his shirt.
I got buttons.
What?
Yeah. He's ready. We're all,
I even brought a nice shirt.
I have nothing against management.
Albeit wrinkled, but you did bring a nice shirt.
Do not start with me.
The thing is he said he ironed it.
I did.
If you ironed that shirt,
he must have
remind me to never hand you an iron again.
He probably had it unplugged while he was rolling across.
Man.
Guess what, guys? I worked at Bank of America.
Hold it
I don't have it with me.
Oh, you didn't bring it in?
I worked at Bank of America for 8 years. I had to iron my shirts every single week. I am an expert ironer.
Not
house,
anymore.
Hung it in my car on the way here. Got here, wrinkled.
No, don't believe you're blaming. You're blaming you're blaming the elements now for somehow after you perfectly ironed your shirt,
I did.
The elements wrinkled it on your way over. I think anybody.
I had my windows down.
Absolutely, nobody's going to give you that one.
Ain't no way you iron that.
Absolutely,
These guys don't believe
gonna
literally
give
anything
you
I
that
say.
one.
The proof is in the pudding. We saw the shirt, buddy.
I don't know how it got there either. As
looks
I got
a mess.
out of the car,
It looks an absolute
It does not
mess.
look like a mess.
It looks like you pulled it out of the dirty bin
It would be
and went like this a couple times.
You'd be better if you gave it to me right now and I sat on it for the next 4 hours. I think it would look better at the party tonight.
I don't want your butt anywhere near my shirt. Because I know you'll do some weird things to it.
Well,
so.
anyway, I have nothing against our management here at the Odyssey Palace. They take great care of
What are
us.
you about to complain about?
Yeah, well,
I'm
the
hot.
fact that we're working until 6 o'clock and the party starts at 6 o'clock. We're supposed to be there. I like to be early at a party. I like to be first one there.
I kind of like showing up a little bit late.
Are you a fashionably late guy?
I'm a fashionably late.
You know what?
Fashionably leave early guy.
Fashionably late is only for cool
I'm with
people,
that.
and
I'm
you're
with that.
hardly a cool people. So
I'm definitely with arriving early.
leaving,
Exiting early.
arriving late,
Yes.
leaving early.
I have
Yes.
a built-in excuse though, because once things get past 8:30, there's a lot of drunk
Yeah.
people. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry to my coworkers.
Yeah.
I cannot have you breathing all over me while you're wasted.
Shenanigans begin.
Yes.
No, actually, I don't mind. I don't mind
Shenanigans
arriving
begin.
a little late, but when it's a party and they're giving away as much free food as possible, I like to take full advantage.
Facts.
So, the fact
Get
that
there
they-
long enough to eat.
yeah,
and then
get
exit.
a bunch of put your feed bag on and enjoy yourself. Yes. Anyway, we're going to be the show's until 6, but the party starts at 6. So our minds may be a little bit elsewhere. All right, Scrape, you want it now, or you want me to pick out something else to talk about here in the open of the show? Actually, there is nothing else to talk about.
Well, Kyle Tucker got traded.
So we'll get the baseball notes. We will certainly
Fine,
get
let's
to.
just get it out of the way.
Get it out of the way.
Might as well.
I mean,
and by the way, this doesn't mean that there's not more coming
this is it.
later.
No, there'll be a lot more
there'll
coming.
Be just we can start it now, though.
I mean, we don't. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's obvious to start with Devondre Campbell, who has done something so egregious, honestly, by refusing to play. And Kyle Shanahan did finally come out today and say this guy's not long for our team. I imagine imagine they're figuring out how to release him without putting themselves
much
in
of a
harm's
penalty.
way.
Yeah.
Too much of a penalty.
My man Ward basically released him in his interview
Yes,
after the
he
game.
did,
He's like,
yeah.
he's probably going to be released or traded here.
I can't imagine anybody would ever want to line up next to this guy again.
No one.
But I would like to begin with, we know the 49ers lost. We know their season is over. That's okay. That happens every year. The 49ers season ends. It's just a matter of when it's going to end, and this year a little earlier than expected. But I want to start with our man Debo. Scraby, you and Debo are feeling the pain today.
How did I?
I'm going to explain. You and Debo are feeling the pain today because you guys are similar in the way you approach things.
Okay.
You, Scraby, walk in, guns blazing, championship dreams, no way we can lose.
Yeah, but I'm a fan, Chris.
Popping off about how great your team is.
I'm going to celebrate my team. I can do that. It's well within my right as a
And
fan
everybody
to do
and everyone that tweeted and texted you last night to talk about the demise of your team had every right to do that because you basically asked for it yesterday afternoon, and you asked for it before every 49er game, frankly.
that. Well, this year I've been kind of subdued. Did you know?
I've been kind of subdued.
Did you know the first time this year we played Bang Bang Niner game was yesterday?
I did know that.
Because I didn't feel like they were good enough for the Bang Bang Niner gang, and then I came in here really feeling good, and
they
it all
proved
backfired.
that they are
Chris, by
not
the
good
way,
enough for that.
I deserve the things that are being said to me.
And
Yes, you
that's where you and Debo have something in common. Debo Samuel, from the moment that he got in the face of that kicker 2 months
See,
ago,
that doesn't
Karma
matter.
absolutely 100% deserved to drop that pass yesterday. The one that was going to take him right into the end zone, untouched, and give the 49ers the lead and change the course of their entire season. I could not have been happier to see that happen to a player than I was to the loudmouth, it's everybody else's fault but mine, Debo Samuel, because last night it was all Debo Samuel's fault as far as I was concerned. That was the game. That was the game. Now, if you don't think so, you can explain something different. But
no, I do. It was
that puts them ahead 10-6 in the fourth quarter, and they probably win that ball game.
In a game without touchdowns, that would have been the touchdown.
He's walking into the end zone with that ball.
Well, Tony, do you have anything to add before I disagree with Chris?
No, go ahead. You can disagree with Chris.
I disagree with
I'm
Chris about the kicker
show.
thing because honestly, it doesn't. The guy missed 3 field goals. Debo went over there to talk to say something to him, and then the long snapper cried because he was talking to his kicker.
He defended his kicker.
Good. Defend your kicker. The thing that I have a problem with is posting things on Twitter about getting the ball, not getting the ball enough, saying it's not his fault he's not getting the ball, and then when he does get the ball, because they basically changed that entire game plan last night to focus around Debo. The first 3 drives, it was run Debo, pass to Debo, drop, run Debo, pass to Debo, drop. That's what makes me angry, is that you can't be making a big deal, having everybody in your locker room asked about Debo, and then drop the game-winning touchdown. You can't come back from that.
That's all athletes. The moment you become
bigger than the team,
I won't even expand it that far. I just say the moment you start talking, the microscope grows on you from the outside looking in, especially when you're a player who has been productive through the course of his career. Debo was Debo, and he was, quite quiet. He got paid. His team still was pretty good. He was their biggest cheerleader, and I think he just had some missteps this year. It started with the kicker thing. I get it. Emotions run high in football. You're going to have these things. But you also have an obligation to remember there are cameras around you at all times. And how you handle a situation is going to be under a microscope on the outside looking in, and people are going to be talking about it. Then you have the delete tweet situation where even if he didn't mean to insinuate that it ain't on him, that he ain't getting the ball, it's on Brock Purdy in this offense, it came off that way. And guess what? Now we're talking about that. And so you've had that had caught a lot of eyeballs with the kicker. You had the delete tweet that caught a lot of eyeballs that was talked about on all of the talking shows. And then you go out and it's time to perform.
You basically bleep the bed. There's no other way to say it.
And when you do that, you should expect that there's going to be a lot of noise behind it.
Here's my fanatic brain going crazy again. I searched for Debo in the locker room last night, and when he was talking about it, call me crazy, but he had a smirk on his face, like a smile, like this ain't no big deal.
You know how sometimes people laugh and smirk when they're embarrassed?
I do it sometimes.
Yeah.
I thought about that.
You definitely do it sometimes.
Yeah, I do. I do the shoulder thing, too. I put my shoulders up in the air.
I don't know if that was it.
But that's not a good look.
Yeah.
And you know what Brock Purdy did? I know this isn't a 49ers station, but this is what happened last night. Brock Purdy stood in front of everyone and said, that loss is on me. I played terrible. I threw the interception. I missed a lot of plays. I don't see Debo saying anything. Like, Brock Purdy, even though he didn't play great, he stood up in front of everyone and took the blame. Right. That's what an actual leader, to me, does.
Oh, I don't know. I thought leaders going over to the kicker every time they miss a field goal and
get over the kicker thing. It's not that big of a deal.
It's a huge deal.
It's an
absolute huge deal.
I think it is a huge deal.
The guy made 6 field goals in the season opener to win you the game. You always support your teammates, and the minute you don't, it's going to come back on you.
I think
it's a big deal.
I think it is a big deal. I think it's a big deal, not necessarily because he showed emotion. It was how he went about it and what it looked like. And guess what? Even to some degree, the teammates are going to be looking at him after that situation and after the tweet situation. Like, all right, man, all good if you go out and you back it up.
Yeah.
But the moment you don't, guys are going to feel away.
You can't drop a.
And in this case, it was a big one. In this case, it was a big one.
He dropped more. I believe. I don't know if he was
he had 3 drops.
He had 3 drops last
night. It was either 2 or 3 drops.
There was one early in. Okay. Yeah.
All right. If you think
that's not even the worst part, by the way.
If you think we're talking too much,
if the story probably would have been Debo, we probably
yeah.
would be talking about
That's
it much
true.
more
He's very
if
happy.
it's not for my man quitting on his team.
Yeah,
that
that's-
became the story.
That's it's something that can't be ignored, and it won't be ignored on this show. If you think we're talking too much about the 49ers, look, here's the good news. Starting next week, we don't have to talk about them anymore.
I knew where this was going. We don't have to talk about your Dolphins either.
We're
They're
not
still in
talking
it.
about my Dolphins.
Well, they released OBJ today. I thought you rallied around your teammate.
No, he wasn't getting it done. Wasn't getting
I
production
could
done.
have told you that.
All right, I
you
think
go.
I said that the day they signed him.
I think
You
you did too.
All right, we are underway. There are some baseball moves that were made today. The Cubs, big time. The Yankees add somebody huge. We'll talk about that. Padres just keep on rolling along with news we're all awaiting. But we'll give you some baseball updates and some other stuff as Gwynn and Chris gets underway on 97.3 The Fan.
Attention. Well, it's 222. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Scraby, Devondre Campbell. Talk of sports this morning. We got a lot of people furious, quite frankly. I mean, I don't know that I watched any sports talk show this morning where, I mean, athlete, non-athlete, all angry about what we found out later was a quit job.
How about mixing in parents whose kids watch this, read this? I mean, this is the worst example you can possibly set.
Kid was watching it. Now, in real time, nobody knew what was happening.
That's
we
true.
just probably assumed he was hurt.
I didn't really know who he was.
Scraby didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
But it didn't take long before that game ended and we found out, exactly what was going on. And you're right, Chris. There's a lot of kids who watch Thursday night, Monday night. They watch on Sunday.
They read the ESPN website today. They see this stuff.
And so, this is a big deal. So we're going to get to that on the other side. We're going to dive into the baseball stuff because a lot's going on. Not necessarily here in San Diego, but a lot of moves happening. Yankees get a back-end arm in Devin Williams. Great back-end arm. He struggled a little bit in the playoffs.
Yeah, the last time I saw him, he was giving up the pennant-winning home run to Pete Alonso.
Yes,
or not pennant-winning, but it was the home run that moved the Mets into the championship series.
Which, by the way, was just a phenomenal piece of hitting by Pete Alonso.
It was an outside changeup, and he hit it to right field over the wall.
You just don't see that kind of stuff that often. Also, a big trade. The Astros give up one of their young core pieces. I was too. He missed quite a bit of the season last year with what they called was a bruised bone in his shin. I've heard that it was actually a fracture that they didn't really want to leak. They didn't want that out there, but nonetheless, he gets traded. He goes to the Cubs. The Cubs now have moved. They moved two prospects. No, right? No, Paredes.
Paredes is the big one.
Is the big guy? They got him from Tampa at the end of last year,
and he. I don't want to say he laid an egg for the Cubs, but he didn't get them where they wanted to go.
No, quite frankly, when the Cubs made that deal, they were already hanging on by a very thin thread. But nonetheless, Kyle Tucker, who is, after Soto signed, there was a lot of conversation about who is going to be the next big payday. Kyle Tucker's name consistently keeps coming up. I think he's coming up on free agency here pretty soon. And so the Cubs get a big piece. Remember, they're also trying to move, it sounds like, Cody Bellinger from their team. And so some of these pieces, some of these dominoes, although not free agent dominoes, still some big pieces moving teams.
Yeah, Tucker's a big bat. And, if he's healthy, I mean, that's a legit get for the Cubs.
For sure.
I would think at Wrigley Field, too,
Yeah, good point.
He gets a couple of balls up in the air. Wind's blowing out. He's an excellent fielder.
Hope he's ready for those day games.
Well, that's part of life, right, at Wrigley.
Yeah, Chicago Cub is definitely part of life.
I think that's a good pickup for the Cubs. I'm a little curious what the Astros are doing here, but maybe the prospects really intrigue them. Maybe the Astros at long, it's finally run its course for the Astros.
Yeah.
I don't think you could complain if you're an Astros fan. You were in the American League Championship Series 7 years in a row. That's one of the great runs in baseball. Especially in this day and age.
Yeah.
To keep getting that far, they got one real World Series. They got one that's always going to be tagged as kind of phony. But it's been a great run for the Astros. I mean, I don't know. I've heard some places they might try to re-sign Bregman. I don't know why they really would at this point.
I think
seems like they ought to just start and fresh.
I think that's exactly where they're headed.
Yeah, well, Paredes plays the same position that Bregman, doesn't he? Third base.
He can play third base.
So
but
maybe I don't know what the Astros.
My guess is that they're. It sounds like they want to bring Bregman back. Everything that I've read.
Yeah, I do too.
The question will be will they be outbid, and what does Bregman want to do? But This team is this is still even without Kyle Tucker, is a very good team. They still have Jordan Alvarez. They still have an elite starting five in terms of their rotation. They had the young kid that replaced Correa at shortstop.
Pena. Yeah.
So they still have some pieces to work with. I think Bregman will go a long way to keeping that team intact and successful as they've been. But nonetheless, a big bat. And then as it pertains to Williams, I mean, the Yankees at this point, they need a back end arm. They really got through all of last year without like a real closer. And still got to a World Series. And so,
yeah, but it finally gave way right in that last game.
It did.
I mean, let's be honest. And also in the Cleveland series, a couple of games got away at the end of that.
Yeah, they had to have some heroics to put that series away.
Yeah, so, I mean, you can get – who was the guy, the little guy for the Yankees who ended up being the closer, the former starter?
Weaver, yeah.
Yeah, Luke Weaver. I mean, he's about 150 pounds soaking wet. And he did a hell of a job for him, but now they have a legit guy there in Devin Williams. The Yankees, look, they're the Yankees. They know they have to strike right now. Their fan base will disown them if they don't go out and do something. After, because in the minds of the Yankee fans, they blew it on Soto.
Yes.
Never mind that Soto made the decision to go to the Mets. As far as the Yankee fan is concerned, the Yankees screwed up.
There's half. It's half and half. Half of the Yankee fans, after they lose out on Soto, are like, "Oh, good. I'm glad we didn't spend the money on him." And then the other half are like, "We definitely should have brought him back. What are we doing?" So I don't know. This is this Yankee offseason. We'll see how it goes. I think all of these off seasons, if you don't sign like the elite dude, Ohtani last year, Soto this year, it's always a wait and see what the end of the offseason looks like before you could start really deciphering how good an offseason was. You're definitely not making that decision December 13th.
Yeah, but if the Padres would like to make just the smallest of moves here before we
that'll make you feel better.
Break for Christmas, it would make me feel better, and it would be nice to have something other to talk about other than the fact that we're all sitting and we're waiting for something to happen.
Yeah,
but that's all we can really deal with.
Chris. Woo-saw.
That is the name in the game of free agency.
Well, have you ever seen Bad Boys before?
Bad Boys,
the movie?
Which one's that?
Tony, do you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly. Woo-saw. Yeah, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence.
Yeah, it's his way of calming down.
You've
seen
that. You have to see Bad Boys.
I think you should watch Bad Boys 2, though. That's the better one.
I don't know. One might have been best.
I might have seen it, but I don't remember Woo-saw.
Woo-saw is like, calm down.
I remember Woo-saw.
Why are you telling me to Woo-saw? You're the person that needs Woo-saw more than any person on earth.
I told you I'm going to do this offseason different. I'm going to let AJ do his job.
Are you?
Not panic.
Why don't you put that on tape so the next time
is that a temporary thing?
Yeah, that doesn't sound like you're going to stick with that.
It feels very temporary.
It's not temporary. Last year, I mean, everybody's convinced me of the same thing. Last year, he did most of his work right before the season. And we went into that spring training thinking, there's no left fielder, there's no center fielder, there's a bunch of different holes on this team. How are they ever going to field a team? Chris was putting Azokar in the Hall of Fame for his play in center field. I mean, whatever happened to Azokar?
I don't know.
He's still with us. I think
Is he?
I think so.
He's in the minor leagues.
He's still with us in what? The fact that he's alive? What does that mean?
That he's still a Padre. He's still a Padre.
He's in the minor league system, but he went
still
down
in the organization.
And he never sniffed the major leagues again.
No. I mean, it was just a year, right? It was last year.
Yeah, it was last year.
No, it feels like it might have been longer, but it was last year. He'll have a chance again this year to find his way on the roster. All right, let's get to break.
Apparently he's not a Padre. I didn't see
you know what he did? I think he did end up somewhere else.
I don't remember any of this. I'm looking now.
No, I think that's right. I think whoever's on the chat informing you of that is on it.
Oh, the Mets claimed him. Thank you, chat.
There you go. He's
September.
He's a
teammate with Juan Soto again. Good for him.
How did this
was a few months ago.
This feels like it flew under the radar?
I mean, he wasn't on our big league roster at the end, so I'm sure it went under the radar.
Oh, all right.
Let's get to break on the other side. we get into a deeper discussion of Devondre Campbell and his quitting. More Gwynn and Chris.
The biggest guests in
All right, welcome back to Gwynn and Chris, 238. Finally, a Friday. Happy to be with you here until 6 o'clock. No Scraby Chronicles tonight, sorry to say. Scraby will be over with me and Tony and everybody else eating free food at our Christmas party.
Can't wait.
Letting the listeners down, Scrabe.
No, I told them all on Wednesday.
All right. And they were okay with it?
Yeah, they said have fun. So I said it's one day a year, guys.
Yeah, this well, first let me give you a couple of NFL notes because I know you guys tune in to hear stuff, and especially with the weekend, and this is a big deal with the fantasy football playoffs. Everybody wants to know who's playing, who's not playing. Here's a couple of notes for you to take into the weekend. Scraby touched on it. Dolphins released OBJ after he appeared in 9 games. I think he made like 3 catches. I mean, for, I don't know, $3 million. Are you kidding me? I said it at the time. He's washed up. And apparently the Dolphins think the same thing. This could be a factor for your fantasy playoffs. Kenneth Walker, Seattle Seahawks, doubtful for Sunday night against the Packers. That's good news if you own Zach Charbonnet, though. Charbonnet has been just as good, if not better than Walker was when he's been playing. Jets are hoping and expect Breece Hall back. If you got Breece Hall, you're probably happy to hear this. Jets are facing the Jaguars on Sunday. Hall should be in the lineup for the Jetropolitans. Steelers, I think everybody heard this. George Pickens, no-go for the matchup against the Eagles. That's just some of them. But I know everybody wants to know who's playing, who's not this weekend.
Real quick, I thought this was interesting. I was kind of reading it on Twitter, back to the baseball. And we'll get into this later, actually, with our with our subject today and our countdown.
Yeah.
In terms of fans. But you want to know how folks in Houston are viewing this trade? This is from Rod.
Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, the Kyle Tucker from Ron Hughley, who I was doing a hit with them during the course of the season in Houston. This is what he tweeted. He said, "I know some Astro fans have disagreed with me because he's been on this train, really."
The trade Kyle Tucker train?
No, the don't trade Kyle Tucker train. He said, and this speaks to something that Chris talks about often in terms of owners and things of that nature. But he goes on to say, but the trade of Kyle Tucker, a 5-tool player in his prime, best baseball still in front of him because you're choosing to operate like the Royals, Guardians, Reds, Pirates is wild. If a player is good, we won't pay you fairly. That's coming from...
Why does he got to throw all the Royals in there? They just paid Bobby Witt.
His point is you're operating as if you are a small market team. And, just goes to show you how fan bases react.
It's just the way it looks.
Yeah, because exactly. This is a young dude that you actually brought up. Through your system.
Now it's time to pay him, and they didn't want to. But the Astros, can you blame them for that? I mean, they paid. Did they not pay everybody, or no? Did they let everybody go?
They didn't pay Correa. They let what was the center fielder's name that went to
Springer?
They let Springer go. They let Cole go.
Well,
I think that's pretty much the guy.
Altuve, he must have made some money.
Altuve is the one who they've paid.
No, Joe, at some point?
They haven't had to pay Jordan yet. They haven't had to do that yet.
All right.
I'm sure that's coming at some point.
Well, you trade big-name players in their prime, it's going to be a bad look.
Yeah, for sure.
And it may work out. The Astros have had a lot of success, as we said, 7 straight years.
And maybe that buys you some time or some equity in that department.
No, not with fans. What have you done for me lately? And last year, the Astros did not make it to the ALCS, so that was a disaster. But nothing is more of a disaster than this 49er story. And Let's get into it a little bit because I think Devondre Campbell, who I'd never heard of before this morning.
He's a 9-year vet, too, which is even
Right.
stranger
Never heard of
that
the
this
guy.
happened.
The backstory is that Dre Greenlaw, the 49er linebacker, injured himself during the Super Bowl last year. And what was it that he
Torn
celebrate?
Achilles.
He was just trying to run
He
onto
was
the
just
field.
running on the field to take the field, and he tore his
Achilles. I mean, it was
Even Patrick Mahomes go, whoa.
that was an awful injury.
It was disgusting. I think it was one of those. It was one of those ones when you saw it, you didn't have to see a replay.
Yeah.
You knew it.
Greenlaw, so he couldn't play Greenlaw all season long. Campbell took his job, or as a fill-in, was the guy.
Right.
Devondre Campbell
Didn't take his job. He was given the job.
as a replacement until Greenlaw was back. Last night was that night. Greenlaw came back. Problem was Greenlaw was not in game shape to make it through an entire 60 minutes last night.
But when he was in there, boy.
And he was good last night, and I'll even say that.
He had 8 tackles in the first half alone.
He was probably the best player on the field last night, Greenlaw.
I saw a stat. Sorry. Devondre Campbell played like over 10 games. He only had 1 game or something over 8 tackles. Dre Greenlaw played 1 half, and he had 8 tackles.
Well, Dre Greenlaw is better than Devondre Campbell.
There you go.
And that's why Dre Greenlaw got his job back. But when Greenlaw finally had to go out of the game midway through the third quarter last night, Kyle Shanahan turned to Campbell and said, "Hey, you're in." Campbell said, "No, I'm not." And at the end of the third quarter, Campbell actually walked off the field and went back to the locker room.
Well, I'm not sure about this, but I believe there was a, hey, go away.
Either way, he was no longer there. The 49ers are in the process of, cutting this guy, releasing him, whatever they've got to do. This is such a bad move that I would be surprised if Devondre Campbell ever gets asked to play in the NFL again. Yeah. I don't know how you can bring him into your team once the 49ers let him go and say to the rest of your guys, hey, we're bringing this guy in, and you're going to line up next to him. Because in the NFL, it is a big deal.
Huge deal.
If you sacrifice, you want the guy next to you sacrificing. Because if not, it's going to be your butt that gets handed to you.
Yep.
And I don't think anybody would ever want to line up and play with this guy.
This is so deep that it's not hyperbole to say that he may never play in the NFL.
I don't think he does.
Because of that exact reason. Not because some GM out there won't say this guy is very talented, he's an athlete, we should bring him in.
He made a mistake.
Yeah.
He'll learn from it.
Which is true. He made a mistake and he should, everybody should be allowed to make a mistake. However, this particular mistake has ramifications that go through every single locker room, even the locker rooms that he's not in.
Right.
Seeing this, they will never trust that what Chris said, that I'm going to lay it on the line. This guy next to me on my left and my right and behind me, they'll never trust that guy ever again. And it may have been different if he was out there playing like Greenlaw was. Had 8 tackles in the first half. If he had done that through the first 10 games that he's been in, guess what? We might be having a different conversation. Maybe they're not anxious to throw Greenlaw back into the game, but he wasn't. And it was clear in the half of football we saw Greenlaw play that, oh yeah, this is a different animal versus what my man is bringing to the table.
I mean, as an athlete, don't you know that?
Of course you do, and that's the problem, right? And that's the problem for athletes that can't be honest and are delusional, so delusional that they can't see like the signs that's right in front of them. If I'm sitting there as Devondre, and I'm watching this Greenlaw dude run around and make tackles that I haven't been able to do only once this year through a full game.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm thinking to myself, damn, this dude is running around
10 months post-Achilles tear.
What is going on? Okay.
The thing that's interesting to me is
I might not get back in this game today.
Yeah, here's a sound from George Kittle, the 49ers tight end. I know that he was upset because he said he was on the field when this was happening and said he wished he could have been over there to try on the sidelines to try to shake some sense into him. But this is what he said after the game.
And everybody should know George Kittle is a very
Look,
easygoing guy.
He was such a pro talking about this. You're going to hear it.
I hear it.
This is a pro handling it.
Does that create dissension or disbelief or just disconnection on the sideline?
Not disbelief or disconnection like as a team. That is one person who just decided not to, play for his teammates. And I don't think that doesn't make our offense look at each other and be like, wow, man, we're falling apart. It's more of or like the defense, hey, we're falling apart. It's more of a one person making like Mooney said, a selfish decision. And I'm with Mooney on that. And I've never been around anybody that's ever done that. And I hope I'm never around anybody that does that again.
Around anybody who does it again, George. I mean, I can't remember this ever happening.
There's one more clip I want to play.
Who's it from?
George Kittle.
Oh, okay.
It's more.
Yeah, we'll get to it. But what I'm saying is, Tony, there's not a lot to compare this to. I think Scottie Pippen was all in his feelings when they didn't design a play for him at the end of a famous playoff game.
I don't like distractions on the sideline. I think that's...
Sorry.
George, hold your time. Hold
He
on,
wanted to
George.
get
Get
this
back
out.
to
I know, I
George.
was trying to
what.
cue it up correctly.
George, speak when you're spoken
Yes.
to. But that was a one moment in time thing, and believe it still follows Scottie Pippen to this day. But guys just quitting on their teammates and not going in and playing. It's so unforgivable. And it's interesting because all of the headlines keep saying Niners scorn Devondre Campbell's referees. The Niners feel hurt by this. The Niners are it's not just the Niners. To me, this is an example of everything that is horrible about human behavior in a sports setting. I think every team, if you started taking microphones around the locker rooms of the NFL and asked them, they'd get the same answers. Yeah. Wouldn't just be the ones from the Niners saying, no, this guy quit on us. I think the guy from the Carolina Panthers would say, man, this is a horrible play.
Like
horrible
I said,
move.
You heard it across the airways today from former players. Ryan Clark seemed beside himself.
Yeah.
He said
Bart Scott kind of defended him.
Here's what Bart Scott was saying. I saw it. He didn't defend him. He was just trying to give you a devil's advocate's other side of the coin look at it, right? He had basically was making a point. My man had clearly got to the point where he said, I don't care about none of y'all. And that's his right. But there are consequences to that kind of decision. And, I just, the thing that continues to just confuse me is how he can't see it himself. This is a guy who, I don't know how much time he had left in this league, but I would assume you want to maximize this because you probably...
He's in his 9th year.
Right.
You don't get to 9 years without working hard at some
ain't
point.
gonna make 10.
Yeah, that's the sad part, is that he cashed in whatever chips he had at 9 years, and I hope he's okay looking back. I think about these situations, they don't happen often, which is why everybody's reacting the way it did. Remember Antonio Brown, when he walked off? He had Evans in his ear trying to keep his stuff on.
Yeah, that's right.
He walked off. We never heard from him again. Now, listen, he was at the back end of his career, but he still could play. He walked off. We didn't hear from him again. The Scottie Pippen situation. That one is another one that comes up. If Kukoc doesn't hit that shot, we're not talking about it the same way. We're probably talking about it the same way we're talking about this situation. These things don't happen much, and there's a reason. It's that it goes against everything you typically believe as an athlete. The first thing you learn when you start playing sports is don't quit.
I would also think that
don't quit. Push through.
Yeah.
Face
adversity.
One of the first things you learn when you play a team sport is it's don't quit, because it's not just about you quitting. It's about you leaving the other people by themselves. And it's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate that kids had to see that.
I would think that they would go up to him before the game and say, hey, Dre's going to start, but he could come out at any point. He's coming back
And
from an
that's
injury.
the other point.
Be
Like,
ready.
you could have made the decision before the game started to say, you know what? If that's how it's going to be, I'm not suiting up. I'm not going out there. And that would have been received completely different.
And then they just put someone on the roster. It's going to help.
Exactly. You left them hanging. They had no one. 2 guys go down. They look to you, and you're in your fields.
Here's more from tight end George Kittle. George, you can talk now.
I don't like distractions on the sideline. I think that's ignorant, and I think it's just dumb. It's just stupid, and it's very immature. And I just don't. I don't see how that's a. I just don't see how you can do something like that to to your team.
George never says stuff like that.
Well, but he's speaking for everyone here. Like I said, you don't have to be. You can be the world's nicest guy like George is, but this is gonna bother you. I mean, I don't even see Bart Scott having an angle. I guess maybe he was trying, but I don't see an angle of defense here.
His angle wasn't defending. His angle was saying, we've seen guys get to the point of no return, basically. Remember Vontae Davis? When he quit at halftime?
Yeah.
He was like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
True.
Yeah.
And I think Bart Scott's point wasn't that he was defending. It was just that clearly my man had reached that point, and in his mind, not Bart Scott, but the player's mind, he didn't care. He didn't care about George. He didn't care about, and that's his choice. But again, there's going to be repercussions to that choice.
Yeah, there's a comment on the chat. The guy rode the bench all season long, and he finally got called to play when it didn't matter. Actually, you should probably know your facts. He was a starter all season long.
Maybe that's one of the reasons the 49ers stunk this year, because this guy was a starter.
No, Drake Greenlaw wasn't there.
I said maybe one of the reasons they stunk is because this guy was in there
Okay.
instead of Dre Greenlaw.
I hate football. Someone goes, "Are you still going to wear your jersey in tomorrow?" No. That was only if they won, okay?
They got long memories.
He may not even own
Only
that
if
jersey
they
anymore,
won.
for all we know. Gosh. Hour number 2 coming up.
Into the 3 o'clock hour, we roll. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matthew Scraby, a daily gambit coming your way. Should be fun.
No, we'll get to
Oh, yeah?
Wrap up the predictions on last night's 49er Ram game.
Yeah, I already went through it. They came close to hitting the total points, but
Rams football last night.
It was Rams football.
you
And
mean
know-
Cooper Kupp's 0 last night in fantasy football?
Are you kidding me that these two teams combined for 82 points the week before? The Rams got 44, the Niners got 38.
Yeah.
And last night they got 18 points.
Big old 18.
Like nobody could even get, the Rams didn't get a first down their first 4 possessions.
That's how good Dre Greenlaw was.
All right. You're still popping off even after you lose.
He can't help it.
You're
Because Dre
unbelievable.
Greenlaw was great.
You're absolutely unbelievable.
He really can't help
He
it.
just
I can't
can't help
wait.
himself.
I'm already looking forward to next season, so
Okay.
they're going to be back next year.
Yeah, you said that 2 weeks ago, and then if they win next week, you'll be like, well, you know.
No, they're pretty much out at this point.
Yeah, no, that's a wrap. Their season is.
They're not officially eliminated. See,
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
what I
yeah.
don't like is
Yeah,
when people.
the Rockies weren't officially eliminated until a little bit later on in the season.
But they were
they
officially
were
eliminated in February, just like they already are for next year.
This is what there's a couple things that get me quickly angry, and one of them is
Just a couple.
Yes, one of them is telling me that the 49ers window is closed because I hate that phrase. The window is closed. The window's never closed.
Is there a lie there?
The window's never closed. You can retool your roster at any point you want. And can't remember the second one, so it wasn't that important. Let's move on.
Fair enough.
That
Where
would
are
be
we?
you.
Let's go to
Daily
Let's
Gambit?
head to the Daily Gambit.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. Jacob says next year they might get bounced in the NFC Championship or the Super Bowl. You know what? Much rather that happen than not be in the
yes,
playoffs.
you were really happy to lose the
I've
NFC
said this a million
Championship
times.
last year.
I just want my team to be in it as long as possible.
Okay.
And if they lose, we
Yeah.
move on.
No, yeah, you move on, all right.
I just brought it up again. Yes, I
you
move
did.
on. All right. First bet we made last night, 49ers -3 over the Rams on the spread. You guys chose the Rams. I chose the Niners. Rams win 12-6. Total score in this game was over under 48.5 points. They came a full 30 points lower than this. Chris was the only one who won this one. They scored a total of 18 points. Who had more yards last night, George Kittle or Debo? Debo had 16. Kittle had 61. We all chose Debo. Iowa State in college basketball, they were 6-point favorites at Iowa last night. I chose Iowa State. You guys chose Iowa. Iowa State did win 89-80. The UConn women's, Chris chose Notre Dame. The UConn women's
Nice
team was
pickup, Chris.
-2.5 on the spread. Tony and I chose UConn. Notre Dame smoked them 79-68. Not even close.
What's
Look
the
out for that Hannah Hidalgo,
Yeah,
man.
Hannah
She
Hidalgo
can
was
play.
open
Yeah,
last night.
She can play. She's
Kate
got kind of the
Cunningham,
wild
sorry.
hair, too, which I like.
Kyle.
Hannah Hidalgo. She doesn't have, like, it's not
I
all
saw
tied down.
No, I saw.
You know what I mean? It's kind of flying all over.
She's got a little,
I like that.
little Afro puff.
Yeah, I
at the
like
top.
that. I like it.
Cade Cunningham, over under 23.5 points last night. We all went over. He had 18 points.
Final totals last night: Chris 3-3, Tony 2-4, Scraby 1-5.
Yee yee.
That's what I get.
All right, here we go to the
Yee.
weekends. Wagers start tonight. Cleveland Cavaliers are home to the Washington Wizards. Can we talk about the Wizards for a minute? I mean, I don't know what they even say about this team in Washington, D.C. They finally won a game the other night. They beat Jokic, but they're 3-19, even with that.
Yeah, that old Kyle Kuzma quote from a couple years ago keeps floating around the internet.
Which one?
When he said, "You don't be the team that loses." Who was it that was really bad a couple years ago?
Oh, I see. Right. Don't be the team that loses to the whoever.
Yeah.
Now
he's that team.
Don't,
He's on
the
that
Wizards
team.
are that team. Yeah. I'm trying to look at. I mean, Jordan Poole went from like the greatest thing ever in the Warriors to being on this team.
Well, that's what happens when you're just reportedly not a very fun person to be around.
Kyle Kuzma went from Lakerville to here. I'm trying to think. Like, who else did they even have on this club? Malcolm Brogdon was an NBA champion with the Celtics. He's on this team.
Is George Mirasan still playing?
George Mears. And Muggsy Bogues. I think they were
Wow.
both played on the Washington back
They
in the
did.
day. All right, Cleveland's
Michael
favored
Jordan?
by 17, which is a huge number for an NBA game. These teams played a couple of weeks ago in Cleveland. Cleveland won by 31. What do you think about tonight, Tony? You have any love for the Wiz?
None.
None.
Bad basketball is bad basketball.
Cavs. Scrape.
17 points is a lot.
Yes, it is.
I'll go Cavs, though.
Cavs. All right. I'm going to just... Jordan Poole's going to hoop it tonight. I'll take the Wiz.
At least stop calling them the Wiz.
Well, then when they win a game, they can be the Wizards.
Okay,
but
fair
until
enough,
then...
Fair enough.
Lakers are at Minnesota tonight.
Minnesota.
No LeBron, as we know. I read a ridiculous notion today that trying to put LeBron's leaving personal reasons, trying to connect it with his friendship or relationship with P. Diddy, trying to connect it with LeBron, trying to do damage control, and LeBron not feeling well, and LeBron retiring and never coming back to the NBA.
Wait, what?
It's unbelievable. That's what I mean. I told you the other day this was going to happen. If you go out for personal reasons, people are going to run away with themselves.
They just make up stuff.
And they are making stuff up. I imagine LeBron will be back here shortly, but not tonight. 213.5 points is the over-under for this game. I would do the spread, but I know Tony is going to pick.
No, I wouldn't. I was going to pick Minnesota. If
You're going to give 8.5 points? That's the spread.
I was.
Well, it's not the bet. Timberwolves average 110. The Lakers average 112. So that would be 220.
We're going over, baby.
222.
But
Line
that's
is
also without
213.
LeBron James, though.
Yeah.
So
You going to say over still?
I'm going to say under.
Under now. Scrape?
Over.
Over. 213 seems kind of light for an NBA game. I'll go over. Who scores more points tonight? Joel Embiid at home against the Pacers. Yes, he's supposed to play,
I was
Scraby.
just thinking, like, is
I
he
know.
playing yet?
Joel Embiid versus the Pacers, or AD at Minnesota. Scraby, you're first up here. Embiid or AD?
Well, Tony can tell me if I'm wrong, but with no LeBron, AD's got to step up, so I'm going to say AD.
You may. I'll still say Embiid because Embiid always scores 40, even, like he only plays once a month, but he's got to get his 40.
His knee is broke. I'm going with AD.
All right, AD. AD had a couple of stinkers in there while the Lakers were going through their slump. Tomorrow, it is the grand old game, Army-Navy. Army's favored by 6. I think the general thing is saying a rivalry, you throw this out, but I think Army's just really good. They lost one game all year. I think they're going to beat Navy comfortably. I'll take Army. Tony?
Give me Army.
Army also. Scrape?
I mean,
Want to take the midshipmen? We are in a Navy town here.
they always
could-
play this game tough for the most part.
I know they do.
I'm
but
going to go Navy.
You can have them. You got them.
You can have
You
them.
can have them.
Anchors away. All right. College basketball tomorrow. There's no good games tonight, but there are 3 really good ones tomorrow. Number 1, Tennessee is at Illinois, and this game is a pick'em. Tennessee, number 1 in the country, but no spread here. You just go straight up. Tony? The Vols on the road. Can they win a road game against a really good team? Illinois is good.
Are they ranked?
Give me the Vols.
I'm going to take the Vols. Let me see if Illinois is ranked. Because I used to memorize the rankings, but that's...
Well, that would have come in handy right about now.
Yeah, right about now, that would have been really
no,
good.
they're not ranked.
Yeah, the Illini, they're receiving votes, but they're not ranked. They were ranked last week, dropped out of the rankings.
Yeah, they're 7-2 overall.
Scrape, who you like?
I'll go with Illinois.
All right. I'll also go with Illinois. These good teams go on the road and weird things happen. So I'll take Illinois. Gonzaga is giving 3 points at UConn. Now we know UConn went through the disaster that was their trip to Maui. But the calming influence of Coach Dan Hurley, I think, has settled things down. UConn's playing a little better right now. Gonzaga, number 8 in the nation. Scraby?
What's the spread?
Gonzaga
3?
favored by
3.5?
3.
Oh, 3.
At Connecticut, though. They're going all the way up. They're actually playing. It's a true road game, which is, difference in a lot of preseason games are played on neutral courts. This is not a neutral court.
Yeah, I'm going UConn.
UConn. I would normally go UConn for the same reason I went Illinois, but
they had the
Dan
coach.
Hurley
Yeah.
can
They have
just,
the coach.
Forget it. So I'll take Gonzaga to. I want to see more stupid Dan Hurley antics tomorrow. Gonzaga. Tony? Zags or Dan Hurley?
Give me Dan and the boys.
You're taking Dan.
All right.
All right.
I wrote Dan Hurley in our bet thing.
Yeah.
The Hurleys.
One more. Alabama ranked number 7. Creighton not ranked. But remember, Creighton beat Kansas last week. This game is at Alabama, however. Alabama by 10.5. I will take Creighton. I'm going to stick with them. Every time they win, it's a boost for the Aztecs. Tony?
Creighton. Keep boosting that resume.
Yeah, Blue Jays. Scrape?
10.5 is too much, Creighton.
Also Creighton. A sweep for Creighton.
Sweep it.
Located in?
Nebraska.
Kansas.
Nebraska.
No, Nebraska. Dang it.
Tony thought he was all excited there.
Kansas!
Tony thought he had one there.
I did.
They beat Kansas.
They beat Kansas, but they're not in Kansas.
You know, I
Nebraska,
drove-
Kansas is pretty close.
I drove through Lawrence, Kansas one time to see KU. That's where it is, right?
Mm-hmm. Lawrence, Kansas is where the location of Kansas. Creighton is in Omaha.
I could never imagine going to KU.
That's why I wrecked. Okay. Yeah. Omaha. That's right.
I could never go to KU. It's like
Creighton is
in
where
the middle of nowhere.
Paul
I think-
Pierce loved it.
Who?
Paul Pierce.
Oh, he played at Kansas.
He said
Oh,
he
yeah, when
loved
you're a
it.
basketball player for Kansas, it's probably pretty good to you.
Probably had a fairly good life, and that was before the NIL.
Yeah,
but I bet you Paul Pierce did all right
He probably
at
did.
Kansas. Yeah, They
It was
probably
like drive,
took
drive,
care of
drive,
him.
Topeka, Lawrence. And that was it.
All right, let's get to break. We got more Gwynn and Chris on the other side. Here's some traffic.
From the 97.3
This hour on 97.3 The Fan. I'm only reading this because Scraby says I never look at the rundown.
Well, it's true. You previewed a Big Five story yesterday.
It's funny that I'm looking at the rundown right now and reading.
Just because you announced to everybody that you finally read it for the first time doesn't mean that you're going to do it again.
Is he just always this way?
Yes. You should
Well,
know
it's like
that.
I'd like to believe that it's the
should know.
49ers losing that mattered, but it doesn't matter.
For
This
7
is what I
years,
live
Chris
with.
has not looked at the rundown. He does it, and he's like, doo, 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 doo. Everybody, first off, I have arrived.
Here's today's
And
rundown.
secondly, I have read the rundown.
Here's what I'm doing with the rundown. There you go.
That's disrespectful.
Well, I think you were disrespectful to me.
I think that was a crash out right there by you, buddy.
By me?
Yeah, you just kind of lost
Yeah,
it
the
there.
guy reads the sheet for the first time in 7 years, and he's like, everybody, I have read the sheet.
Now I have to piece it together so I can finish
Well, yeah,
this
you
read.
shouldn't have ripped it apart.
This hour, 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings.
I'm going to do this.
No, I have it. Buffalo Wild Wings is football. Head to your local Buffalo Wild Wings. Try their new maple chipotle sauce for rich maple sweetness and a mild, smoky chipotle heat. Or for a bit of a kick, check out the new Cajun sauce for a rich blend of spicy and tangy pepper sauce. Stop by your San Diego B-Dubs or order now for takeout and delivery Buffalo Wild Wings.
This is why I love our show so much, because our listeners do get to hear like real spats on air, and then we kind of we sift through it after it comes out.
If it happens on the air, I feel more comfortable. If it happens off the air, I'm very uncomfortable. Because I feel like I have people with me when I'm on the air. When I'm not on the air, I'm by myself.
Who's rooting for you
Everybody.
at this point?
Well, not everybody.
Who's rooting
not
for
everybody.
you?
But some are rooting for me.
You're kind of a wacko.
I don't doubt that. Never said it.
Catty Wampus?
I don't know if I'm cattywampus.
A little bit.
Makes me different. That's why.
And that's another word for
All
it.
right, Chris, get me out of here.
There's no college football this weekend other than the Army-Navy game. A little bit of a delay before the start of the tournament. Have you guys, are you excited about it, Tony? Are you waiting till the end of next week? Do you think you'll get fired up? Do you think you'll watch all 4 first-round games?
I think I will be fired up for it. I don't like this downtime, though.
Yeah.
I would prefer it kind of kick off.
2-week break before they start it.
I'm sure the rest is good, considering they're playing more games than they have at any point.
That's true. College football players used to play 11 games. Then they made it to 12. Then you get to 13. Then you can get to 14 with the semifinal. But now, right, you've played 13 already, and you play 3 more. You could play 16 games. That's almost an NFL schedule.
Yeah.
It's a little different situation. Is there anyone in the tournament that you like, the 12 teams, anyone you don't like going in? Or is it too early to ask you?
I mean,
because I have mine.
Hold on, let me pull it up here.
Yeah, pull up the tournament. You've got, the 4 teams that have byes: Oregon, Georgia, Boise State. I'd love for Boise State to do well in this tournament, just to shove it to everybody out there who thinks, the Mountain West is minor league football. I don't know that they're going to be able to do it, but I hope they do. Arizona State's also got the bye. Oregon will play either Tennessee or Ohio State, which I think is the toughest grouping of them all.
For sure.
Georgia will play either Indiana or Notre Dame. Boise State will play either Penn State or SMU. A lot of people think Penn State is being given, basically a bye to have to only beat SMU and Boise State. And then the other one is Arizona State against either Texas or Clemson. Texas, I think, also getting a favorable draw.
I like Texas.
You do?
I
You
do.
like Texas?
I like Texas.
What do you like about Sarkisian? He's not my all-time favorite. Seems like he can be outcoached. I just feel that way about him.
That might be true. I don't know that I pay enough attention to know whether or not he can be outcoached, but I do like a comeback story. He had to kind of.
That's true.
He had to start from scratch.
He was down in your dumps.
Real disgrace.
Yes, he was. I mean,
this
I
guy
remember
was like showing up at media conferences.
Yeah, he was
Hambo.
doing a speech.
Yeah,
drunk.
it was really
Like,
embarrassing.
It was. Well, I wouldn't.
That
Have
was
used
at
that
SC
word. I would
that
have
happened,
used.
right?
I would have used.
That was when
unfortunate.
That was when he was the coach at SC when that happened.
Yeah,
right?
it was pretty sad, man.
It was rough.
So give that guy credit for bouncing back. Give somebody credit for giving him a second chance that he took advantage of.
I definitely like that about it. But you know what? I also like, in terms of a wild card, though, I like Notre Dame.
Me too.
I like
That's
Notre
the
Dame.
team I'm keeping a weird eye on for some reason.
I think of all the teams that no one's counting on.
Nobody's mentioning Notre Dame.
I think Notre Dame might be that team.
They had the dumbest loss of the season,
did.
right? I mean, they lost to Northern Illinois. But after that, and everybody pretty much forgot about
They wrote them off after that, basically.
But after that, Notre Dame was lights out the rest of the way. I did watch them against USC. Not the most dominating performance, but
it's a rivalry game,
right?
though.
They have a good run game. They have a good, they can
Good
score.
defense.
Their defense, other than the USC game, has been really good all year.
Yeah.
They blew out Army. They blew out for Navy. They blew out Georgia Tech, who's a good team.
Who took Georgia to the brink and beat Miami.
Yeah. They also beat Texas A&M. That was way back the first game of the season. I don't think anybody's really looking at Notre Dame, which is why I give them kind of a surprising chance here.
You also have to think, and as good as Georgia is, they're going to be without their quarterback in that game. Most likely,
right.
I doubt.
I hate this. The Georgia backup quarterback is not as talented as Carson Beck, but he also doesn't throw 12 interceptions like Carson Beck.
He takes care of it a little bit more.
Yeah. But I like Notre Dame kind of as a surprise team here.
Yeah.
The team I'm just flat out can't help but root against is
Oregon.
No, I'm not. No, not Oregon.
That's mine.
Oh, that's yours.
Sorry.
Mine is Ohio State. I just am not a
your
fan
guy.
of Ryan Day,
Mr. Day,
and I'm not a fan. I mean, if they lose, they'll try to make it a felony for Ohio State to lose.
That's right.
But Ohio State could end up playing Oregon, in which case
I will probably root
somebody will have to lose, which will make me happy.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not a Ryan Day fan. I would hate to see him get off the mat and be carried off at the end of this, and bygones be bygones. Because I just don't. I'm not a fan of that guy for whatever reason.
You think he dyes his hair jet black?
Yes.
I think that if he takes it a little bit more, he's going to start dripping like Rudy Giuliani did.
Oh, my goodness.
Remember that one?
I do.
Ryan Day looks like he's one step away from that.
I was thinking about it when he was on the Pat McAfee, and I I was thinking in my head, it's a good thing it's cold.
Yes, because if it warms up, he's going to start dripping black. He's going to leak.
I dyed my hair black in college, and I did it by myself.
Really?
And I had the black line from the dye on my forehead for a week and a half. It would not come off of my skin. The top of my ears were black.
I can't help but look at him and think about him.
Yeah.
Same thought comes to my mind, Chris, that he's going to start milting. The black dye is going to start rolling down his face.
That is
it's going to look crazy.
That is a funny visual of Rudy Giuliani sweating his hair out.
It was kind of disgusting.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter was named the big award winner, college football awards night. He was named the player of the year over Ashton Genty. And I've seen a lot of people, got a minute or two left here before we get to the break, but I've seen a lot of people who are saying the following, Tony, and I don't know that it's accurate. It's people that are Ashton Genty fans. I happen to be one. This guy's an incredibly good running back. He trucks people, as they like to say, and he's got speed. But a lot of people are saying that Travis Hunter is going to be Ashton Genty's Gino Torretta to Marshall Faulk, because Marshall Faulk didn't win the Heisman. It went to Gino Torretta. The problem is Gino Torretta is a complete, utter failure as a pro. I don't know that you can say Travis Hunter is going to be that. I think he's going to have some ability and some skill to find a spot somewhere. Who would you give the award to, Tony, between those two? It's so tough because I don't watch every minute of every game. But, I mean, Hunter plays both ways. As Dion says, they don't even throw at him on defense because he's such a good cover guy. I think he scored 11 or 12 touchdowns on receptions. Genty may end up breaking the all-time record for most rushing yardage, even beating out the unthinkable Barry Sanders total. I mean, if you had a vote, what would you do?
Best
Good,
player.
tough one.
Best player.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the Heisman is. That's another good question. Like, what is the Heisman?
Wait, are we talking about the Heisman or are we talking about the one that
Well, no, Hunter already won the best player.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm talking about the Heisman. I mean, Hunter's
just
the
put it
AP
this way.
player of the year. So he got that.
I won't be mad if either wins.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those years where I don't think there's a clear-cut winner. You know what I'm saying? I think this is one of those years where, obviously Hunter is like the Ohtani of football. He's playing both sides. He's doing two different things.
He was named the Defensive Player of the Year at the award show and the best receiver at the award show.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard to say that he's not going to win it, in the end.
I like I said, I won't be mad if either wins. They're both deserving.
I'll say one thing about Genty that I appreciate as an old school get off my lawn guy. Genty does not call attention to himself, and I appreciate that. Gets the ball, and he runs like a son of a gun. And Travis Hunter, every time he gets anywhere near the ball, he's got to point at himself 35 times, and I get that because that's kind of the way things go these days. But I appreciate the workmanship of Genty.
Do we know what Travis Hunter's going to play in the NFL?
It's a good question. I think there are pros that think he can't keep this up at the NFL level.
Oh, I don't think he's going to play both ways.
Playing as many snaps both ways as because he's playing a lot of snaps.
He played 688 defensive snaps, 672 on offense.
Wouldn't you want to?
Wow.
Wouldn't you, as an NFL team, just want him to focus on one side of the ball?
I mean, yeah, but if you think you can get a Deion Sanders out of it, where you're not using him on offense every play, but every once in a while you need a big spot, you put him out there. It's a weapon. It's a weapon.
Here's a pretty good case for Hunter right here. He had 92 receptions. He allowed 22. He had 14 receiving TDs, allowed 1. And he was responsible for 53 first down catches. He allowed 6.
That's kind of ridiculous.
So he was pretty dominant all over the place. Yeah, I think Jenny's going to have to settle for second place. And I don't know that it's one of those. I know people will say it's because he's, Boise State.
Yeah,
I don't think that's it. I think in this case, I think it's because the other guy's just too.
I actually think
too good.
That plays for him, right? I think in this particular year where we know, there are a lot of people that may hate on Hunter because of who his coach is, right? Whereas, I think Gentry is just out there being able to be a running back in Boise State and just stack up numbers.
Yeah. But
like I said, these two dudes they're both well deserved.
The one thing is I'd be able to more easily dismiss Genty if he was one of those guys who just got wide open gaping holes and ran down the field.
Nah, he's running through people.
But he runs over people.
I think he has
gets
the most yards
yardage
after contact
every time.
Yeah.
So he's really an impressive running back. All right, break time. What do you got, Scrabe? Oh, kind of excited here. 30-mile zone. If you've never heard one of those, stick around.
Coming up on
Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Straby, Crisello. I'm about to head out. But
Soccer.
You're
Yes.
Devondre Campbelling?
Quitting?
You're
quitting
walking
the show.
out?
It's quitting the show.
I'm not quitting the show.
I'll tell you one thing. Your daughters have a...
An amazing dad.
well, they do. You're
know
dad of
about
the year
that.
because you go to all these soccer matches, but they play almost every day.
Yeah.
Give these kids a break. Goodness.
They got a break coming up here when the winter break starts. They won't practice. or play
Man,
any
they're
games for a
9
little bit.
games a week.
They do have a lot.
They
I
do.
mean, they're in Norco. They're here. They're there. Traveling.
This is a price
I mean,
to
there's
pay.
a lot of running in soccer. Don't you need to rest after a match?
Hey, listen, I agree with you, man.
Kids are incredible.
Who needs school when you have soccer?
That's Tony's, and I'm sure Tony's wife thinks the same.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause that's
Sure she
great.
does.
Sure.
I will let you guys handle it from here, but we got some traffic, and then what we got the
30 miles.
I was
30
fired
mile.
up for the
I was about to call it
TMZ.
8 mile. That's why I had to.
Oh, that would
jump
be
to
cool, too.
The
Wow.
8 mile, no, it's 30 mile coming up after traffic.
From the 97.3.
All right. We haven't done this in a little bit, but this is kind of just like our sports gossip / whatever we don't usually talk about on the show segment.
There's a lot of good gossipy stuff these
There
days.
really is.
Yeah.
And I want to start with this one, Chris.
Okay.
And it's a good one. Dick Vitale has announced that he is cancer-free once again. So that is very good. He had throat cancer.
How about a round of applause for Dickie V
Yes, let me
there?
get that going.
Huh?
There we go.
Yeah, let's hope this sticks.
Yeah.
Because it's unfortunately been a little bit back and forth.
Yeah, he's had different types of cancer. Unfortunately, he had throat cancer. He had lymphoma. According to the article, he's had melanoma as well.
Man, that really takes a toll on your body.
Totally
too.
does. But he's 85. He's still got energy. He's still doing the this thing.
Tony, you're awesome, baby, with a capital A.
You know, I used to text Dickie V, and for someone of his stature, he returned texts so fast. But one time I remember him texting saying that he has throat cancer, and I didn't know really how to feel, because that's a hard thing to handle. But
I told you one time when I was doing a night show way back when, he just called in driving around Santa Monica or something.
But
wanted to talk some college basketball, with college basketball, Dickie, is he in the College Basketball Hall of Fame or whatever? Actually, they don't have a College Basketball Hall of Fame. That's the issue.
Yeah.
The Hall of Fame for basketball is just that. There's
basketball.
one Hall of Fame for college, men, women, whatever it is. But Dickie V should be in there, because basketball would not be where it's at without Dickie V. Have you ever seen any old pictures of Dickie V when he was coaching in the NBA? Detroit Pistons, or back to the University of Detroit?
I know that he did.
If you want to laugh, call up a picture of Dick Vitale in like the 70s. It is a pretty...
Detroit Pistons.
He had these glasses that were like the size of Coke bottles, and he had hair. And it's just kind of surprising. Are you looking at one?
You know what's still funny? It's that he's bald. He has hair, but
he's bald, but he has hair. Yeah.
No, yeah, that is. I don't even recognize
Nobody
that
does.
guy.
Yeah, because we're all used to seeing the Dickie V that we've seen the last 30 years. But look up Dickie V when he was coaching the Pistons in the NBA. You'll get a kick out of that. But that's great news.
Great news.
On Dick Vitale, man. I don't. You know what? That's not an argument, right? Do you ever go to somebody? I love Dick Vitale, and they go, "No, I don't."
Yeah, there's no one.
You don't hear people say that.
There's no one who says that.
No.
He's a type of dandy. Are we going back and forth, or am I going mine? I'll go with my next one.
No, keep going. We're not going back and forth.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
We're going you and you.
So we talked about this a few weeks ago, but the Packers and the Lions played on Thursday Night Football, I think like last week.
Week and a half or so.
A week and a half ago. And there was an altercation on the field between some Packers players and head coach Matt LaFleur with a Detroit Lions fan who was allowed on the field to be like a flag unfurler. So this Detroit Lions fan...
I resemble that remark. I was a flag unfurler last summer.
You were. I didn't say anything bad about it.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
But he turns around because he's close to the Packers sideline, and he starts talking trash to the Packers players. And then Matt LaFleur gets all mad, which I understand why, and he goes after this guy. And so the result of him trash-talking the Packers before the game has resulted in him losing his season tickets. The Lions have sent a message to him, he said, and he said that they will no longer allow him to purchase season tickets.
The good news for this fan, he can move to New York and become a Yankee fan, because they love stupid fans.
That's true. I forgot about
Yankee
that.
Stadium. Remember those guys who
I do
tried to
they
rip
said
the ball out of
it was their
rookie
mission.
bets? Yeah, and the Yankees were like, "This is great."
They patrol.
Until public pressure forced them to do something.
Last part of this story is that the man in question, he said he's devastated over the decision, but he said, hey, quote, I was in the wrong, so some repercussions were taken. I have learned my lesson, end quote.
Fair enough.
So
Move
he's
to New York,
taking it,
be a Yankee fan.
I forgot all about those guys.
Good.
Now, this was quite the mistake last night on Thursday Night Football. Not talking about the game at all. Talking about something that happened in between plays. And the broadcast showed a player on the screen. And underneath, they put up the name Trent Williams.
Okay.
And Kirk Herbstreit. Here is you can't really... It's just the words you're looking for here.
Okay.
But we need to see it as a team. And there's Trent Williams, who's a big part of the grit of that offensive line, and they really miss him up front. Not only because of his
problem
wasn't him.
Wasn't Trent Williams, everybody. It was just another player standing on the sideline. That kind of sort of resembles Trent Williams. Right. But
I can't rip Kirk Herbstreit for that. I can rip him for a lot of stuff because I'm not a fan of Herbstreit. I don't like how he talks down to us. I think he's way too overpaid. He's not one of the best analysts out there, especially in the NFL game. But I'm not going to rip him on this.
It's probably
they put up a graphic of his name, and you're looking at the monitor, and you see that.
Trying to watch the game while analyzing and looking at the monitor.
I'm not going to get him on that.
Yeah, this is a mistake from the production truck. Mm-hmm. This doesn't happen often, but this is a pretty big mistake.
Often.
You should probably know who you're showing before
you need to know those
them.
things, right?
Bill Belichick. Whoops. There we go.
Thank you.
Bill Belichick checked in before he was hired as the North Carolina football head coach. By the way, the AD and the I believe the university president or someone high up in the North Carolina school did not agree on this decision. One of them did not want it. Obviously, the AD did want it, and the AD wins out.
No, the deciding vote won out, and the deciding vote belonged to Michael Jordan. And that's who Belichick visited with.
That's what I'm about to bring
that.
up.
Yeah.
Yes, he did visit with Michael Jordan before.
Went to the king.
And he
said,
kind of
hey.
wanted to talk to him about it.
Well,
get his blessing.
Sure. I mean, Jordan's North Carolina, blue and true.
He is.
So there's no bigger alum. I mean, if you want a little support for the football team, it wouldn't hurt to get Michael Jordan on your side.
That's
see what
true.
he can donate here and there. I think I thought this was the dumbest, stupidest thing. But now that it's happened, I'm really honestly excited. I can't wait to see what's going to happen.
The more it sinks in, I think the more people are realizing that this is a good idea. The only way this turns into a disaster is if he leaves for the NFL after one season. Because he said, I didn't come here to leave.
He said he wouldn't do that. North Carolina, by the way, some alum is, did you see this?
No.
Has applied for the trademark
Chapel
Bill instead of Chapel Hill.
It works,
people are all trying to get money out of this.
I guess it works, but it doesn't for me.
Not right.
It's forced.
Not quite there.
It's forced.
Chapel Bill.
Yeah.
No good. You can have the trademark on that. I don't think you're going to get anything out of it.
They're going to try, though.
They will.
Another sad
Chapel
story.
Bill T-shirts. Get yours.
Right outside the stadium. Chapel Bill T-shirts here.
Chapel Bill.
Chapel Bill here.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to put some stories in between these two stories because we started with a good story of Dick Vitale being cancer-free,
Yeah,
but we
there's
have to
some
talk
bad ones.
about Randy Moss, former NFL player who has said recently he's got some health problems and he's going to be stepping away from ESPN. He announced that he is battling cancer and he's been in the hospital the last 6 days dealing with surgery related to the cancer. I cannot find, unless I'm just missing it, what kind of cancer it is. I
don't believe it's come out yet. Still.
Don't think it matters, but he is battling cancer and he is going through treatment right now for it, which is sad.
Best of luck to Randy Moss. He did say when he announced that he was stepping away, and before the cancer announcement, to make sure you go get checked. Which leads me to believe it might be something along those kinds of lines of prostate cancer, things that you can check on. But we don't know for sure. All we know is that Randy Moss has successfully had the cancer surgery. He's going to have some chemo and things of this nature, and it's going to be a battle for him, as he works his way back. And the other bad news on cancer was Ryan Sandberg.
Oh, yeah, we did not talk about this the other day.
Who had cancer, announced he was cancer-free. Now the cancer's come back.
Someone's saying liver cancer on the chat, which would... I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to
Yeah, let's just stay off it for now until we know. I just don't... Cancer, man. Why can't we figure out a way to... We figured out a lot of things, right, to help make it where it's not an automatic death sentence.
Yeah,
so let's at least give our medical people and research people that.
Yeah.
But we want it still faster to be solved.
Yeah, my my aunt who I grew up with and was kind of like my second mom, she passed away in her early 40s from ovarian cancer, and she left 3 kids behind, and it's just a sad thing. But best of luck to Randy Moss. All right, Chris, moving on, we are going to talk about, have you seen the new SDFC kits is what they're calling them, the uniform? Have you seen
San Diego Football Club. You're talking about our soccer club here.
Yes. Have you seen them?
No.
Well, I put them in the sheet, so
you're
going to have to look at the sheet for the second time in 7 years.
Yeah, but my sheet's torn up.
That's right.
I don't have a
See?
good look.
You shouldn't have torn it up.
Yeah, I'm looking for it here. I'm not finding it.
I have it on my computer, but and I'm sure
it's pretty plain Jane. But I'm not surprised because they're a San Diego Football Club. That they just kind of went with the plain.
See, here's my problem with this.
You got a problem with it? I don't have a problem with plain.
No, I don't have I don't have a problem with plain. When I look at the uniforms, it doesn't stand out to me whatsoever.
Right.
I feel like this is too cookie cutter. It's SDFC. They didn't choose a name that maybe meant something in San Diego. The uniforms look pretty generic. It just feels like
the logo is very generic.
The logo
just
is
kind of
generic,
a soccer ball with the
San
SD
Diego on it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not trying to crush this team because I am looking forward to this, and I do want more pro sports in San Diego. However, I don't feel like they're doing anything to draw me in as a San Diegan.
You want a little more sizzle?
Maybe I know that they can't name them the Wave or anything like that, but choose a name that maybe means something to us rather than SDFC. And I know that people are going to get mad at me because I'm not a soccer guy, which is true. But I am a customer. I'm a customer.
I don't know. Sizzle is important, but steak is more important. So put a good team together, win a bunch of games, and everyone's going to get excited about it. The best uniform in the league and the best logo and the brightest colors. Going to sell a couple tickets, but winning is going to sell a ton of tickets.
Winning is always going to cure everything. But
that's what I'm saying.
In an inaugural season, you need to create news.
Unfair. It's fair. It's a fair comment. Fair comment.
There we go for.
They've been a little, I will say, since the announcement of the franchise, which was about a year ago now.
I think so.
It has been a little quiet. I mean, the MLS season just ended.
They had the
Galaxy
draft
won the
other
championship. You know, I'd like to see it ramping up a little bit more here. I will say that.
And it has to because they start here coming up, I think, in March or April. One last one. I forgot I had this one. You remember when Aaron Judge dropped that ball in Game 5 of the World Series that allowed the Dodgers to come back and win?
Couldn't possibly forget that.
Okay, well, Major League Baseball, I guess, I don't know if they auctioned it off or someone auctioned it off, and the winning bid for that very ball came in at $43,510. Now, I know that you hate this thing. We got into this with Shohei Ohtani's 50-50 ball.
Yeah.
But this might even be a bigger deal to me than Shohei Ohtani's 50-50 ball because that drop will be talked about in Yankees lore forever.
Hey, look, I got the ball that Aaron Judge dropped. Yeah, I also have $43,000 less dollars. A brilliant purchase.
I'm going to charge everyone $5 to see the ball, and I'll make that money back in no time, Chris.
2 local models jumped over the barrier and ran out of the field last night at the 49er game.
I actually just stumbled upon the video.
Yeah. As the old saying would go, they made the best 2 runs of the night for the 49ers.
Oh,
yeah.
They did, actually.
There you go.
All right,
break time. Chris first to the fans. I'm kind of due to a bounce back. I've lost all week. We'll see what happens next.
These things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
It's Gravy from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. 4th hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
Sasquatch.
So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
Sasquatch.
So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
These things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
Sasquatch.
So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20.
All right, hi, welcome back. 4:01 is the time. Couple of hours to roll here on Gwynn and Chris. San Diego's number one sports talk station. Chris Ello, Matt Scraby together in our Odyssey Palace studios. Tony Gwynn Jr. He said he's going to his daughter's soccer match. I think he probably went home to get dolled up for tonight's Christmas party.
Oh, you
he needs
think
a
it
couple
takes
of
that
extra
long?
hours. Yeah, he needs a couple of extra hours.
Wow.
I know my wife left work early to get home and, get
Really?
prepared. Yeah, Lori wants to, look sharp. She knows darn well I won't look sharp, so somebody in the family has to.
I know this is a thing. I'm not. I take a decent amount, not a decent amount of time, but I'm not going to just rush through.
I'm feeling pretty good up against your rumpled shirt that you swore
It's not
that you
rumpled.
ironed.
And I did iron it.
Yeah, didn't come out too well. We got a little Chris versus the fans coming up, but if you just tuned in, looking for some sports headlines on this Friday, the guy who quit on the 49ers last night, nobody cares about his name, Devondre Campbell. He's just the guy who quit. 49ers haven't made it official yet, but Kyle Shanahan made it clear that this guy's never playing for the 49ers again. We talked about it at length earlier. Probably get into it a little bit more later on. Baseball, a couple of moves of interest today. Cubs trade with the Astros. Cub fans rejoice.
Yeah.
Really good right fielder Kyle Tucker comes to Chicago in exchange for third baseman Isaac Paredes, pitcher Hayden Wisniewski, who never really amounted to much, and a prospect by the name of Cam Smith. Tucker's got a career 870 OPS. That's his career.
Wow.
He's had bigger years than that, but
he's actually, they're putting up a stat on the screen right now. He's 7th since 2021 in slugging percentage.
Yeah, he's a legit slugger. Cubs get him. We'll see, where that goes. Right now, Seiya Suzuki is the right fielder. Guess what, Seiya? You're headed to designated hitter duty. Cody Bellinger is still a Cub, but people think that he is likely to be moved. As far as the Astros are concerned, maybe Paredes takes over at third base for free agent Alex Bregman, although there is some talk of Bregman returning to Houston. I will say this because we were talking about the Astros and their fans are upset about this because it sounds like a give-up move. The Astros haven't ever given up, man. They lose guys, but they are able to replace them. They've lost Springer, they've lost Correa, they've lost Tucker now. You know what I mean? Garrett Cole.
Mm-hmm.
Verlander left and came back.
Yeah.
And through it all, the Astros have made really competitive and pretty much win their division every time. So
I would be pretty upset if I was an Astros fan too.
They are.
Because, this team has competed every single year.
Yeah.
I feel like this team has probably made money. They have the money.
Hand over fist.
They have the money to do this.
Well, all these owners have the money. The stupid guy who runs the Rockies has the money. He just doesn't want to spend it. Don't tell me he doesn't have the money.
No,
He's got it.
I get it. I don't understand.
He's just holding on to it.
I don't understand owners that buy a team just for the business.
I wish just for fun somebody would tape our show and just send it directly to Charlie Monfort, the owner of the Rockies. Or not Charlie.
Dick Monfort.
He used to be Charlie, who was a pretty good owner. Dick.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, the things that we say have got to be what people in Denver think. New York Yankees today acquired closer Devin Williams. Left-hander Nestor Cortez goes back to the Brewers. Cortez, I think, was in the playoffs long enough to give up a monster home run to somebody. I can't remember what game that was. Was it an ALCS game or a World Series game?
I think it was a World. I think it was Freddie Freeman.
He gave up the grand slam to Freddie Freeman. Thank you. Yeah, Nestor Cortez. That was his ticket out of town.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, he was. Never mind. Doesn't matter.
Let me tell you something. The Yankee fans remembered.
Of
They're
course.
probably happy to see him go.
That's a tough move, though. New York City to Milwaukee.
Why is that tough? A little less stress. Less stress. Go relax. Go pitch.
I think if you're looking at it that way, yeah. But New York is like this big city with things to do, and Milwaukee is landlocked, kind of. There's a lake, I know.
Milwaukee smells.
What?
It smells.
Like what?
Have you ever been to downtown Milwaukee?
Long time ago.
There's breweries everywhere. The runoff into the lakes and rivers. Ugh, not great.
Long time ago.
Not great.
All right.
Not great.
I'll take your word for it.
Those are the two big baseball moves.
Can we do some Chris versus the fans?
Let's go.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right. What the heck? What?
I don't know. I just saw this. Go ahead.
What?
I'll tell you in a little while because I know you're
You have to make it through 3 questions.
Game.
Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get it wrong and Chris gets it right, you're eliminated. But if Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question, or you win if you are a first-time player. Let us know before you get into it, and you'll get that first question for free today. Chris versus the Fans is presented by SD Fat Loss. Lose 20 to 30 pounds in just 60 days. Visit sdfatloss.com to schedule your free consultation. And if you win, you'll be qualified for a chance at a grand prize. I can't speak. A 2-night stay at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino and 2 tickets to Hoops Central at the Westgate Superbook. Experience the madness of March as only Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino can serve it up to you with the high-definition screens, luxury seating, table service, and access to all the best gaming action. Enjoy hoops action from the best up-and-coming stars on giant HD screens in a smoke-free environment. For tickets, head to westgateresorts.com. All right.
Very good, Scrape. Let's
Thanks.
play ball. I've had a tough week.
Yeah.
I don't think I've even got a question right this week.
Is that true?
I don't know. I don't keep official statistics, but it just doesn't seem like I've been.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I don't think I've been playing well.
Let's go to Luke.
So it's a good week for you. A good day for you, Luke. Hopefully you can take advantage of my slump.
How's it going?
Thanks, boys. Good. How are you guys?
We're good. Good to have you with us. Good luck to you.
You ready to play?
First time player.
First time player.
Here we
awesome,
go.
Luke.
Second question. Where does Jonathan India play now after he was traded this offseason?
Who?
Jonathan India.
Oh.
Man. Went from the Reds.
There you go.
You got the Reds.
I'll go with the Reds.
Sorry, what? You're going to go with the Reds?
I'll go with the Reds.
The Reds. Chris?
I think he went to the Royals.
Sorry. Luke. I don't like it. I don't like it, Chris, when you...
I needed to get one right.
I don't like it when you just jettison first-time players. The whole thing is for them to want to play
Throw
again.
them out the deep end here.
You just send them into space.
They have to understand the realities of the game.
Let's go to Chris in San Marcos. Hello, Chris.
Hey, good afternoon. How you guys doing?
Now, a guy named Chris, I might be willing, to throw a question for.
Okay. Here we go. Are you ready to play, Chris?
Hi, Chris.
Certainly.
All right, here we go.
Let's go.
In college, what is their version of the 2-minute warning called? College football.
2-minute timeout.
2-minute timeout is correct.
I'm glad he got that because I had no idea.
They make it very clear, too, from what I've heard from announcers, that it
Really?
is the 2-minute timeout.
All right.
I don't know if 2-minute warning is like copyrighted or whatever.
There was
trademarked.
This is silly and information
It's
nobody
dangerous
needs.
sounding.
Sorry?
What'd you say, Chris?
What I was going to say is that people
There's
wonder
two
why
Chris's,
did the
I
2-minute
forgot.
warning ever get invented in the first place? The reason was in the old, in the NFL in the 70s.
To warn you of 2 minutes.
Well, that. And the fact that in the 70s, the rules changed in the final 2 minutes of a half, where it used to be only the quarterback or the defensive team captain could call a timeout.
Really?
And in the last 2 minutes, anybody could call one.
Oh, weird.
So they had the 2-minute warning to
Tell
basically
everybody.
change over the rules.
Okay, that's interesting.
There you go.
That is
If you've ever
interesting.
wondered.
All right, Chris in San Marcos. Here we go to
Chris in San Marcos is like, let's just get on with the game. Come on.
Question number 2. How many total teams currently make the NFL playoffs?
Number 2 question.
Correct.
3, 2. Total teams?
Total teams, AFC, NFC.
10.
You have an answer?
Oh. But yeah, 10.
10.
They're looking for a 14 here, Scrape. 7 in each league. Sorry about that, Chris, but
Sorry,
thanks for
Chris.
playing.
Yes, thank you for hanging in there for the 2
Yeah,
minutes.
they've
timeout.
expanded it a few times.
I like this current version.
You like this version where only one team gets a bye?
I think that's way better.
Okay.
The one team getting the bye actually makes you have to play for a first seed at the end of the year if you need
That's
it.
the idea.
And it lets an extra, what is it called? Super Wildcard Weekend? It is a great round of playoffs.
It is 6 games.
All right.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday night. Yeah, that's good. I like the wild card weekend. And, it's especially fun when you can relax because neither your team nor my team will be participating this year.
Yes,
we can just sit and watch.
That's
we
very
don't have to sweat
sad.
it out.
I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
Let's go to Jason in San Diego. Hello, Jason.
Jason.
How you guys doing?
We're
Pretty
good, Jason. Good, man.
You ready to play?
Here we go.
Let's do it.
Ping, Callaway, Cobra, and TaylorMade are all companies that mainly manufacture equipment used to play what sport?
Golf.
Golf is correct.
Bingo.
Bingo!
Who's the company that's here? Callaway? San Diego and Carlsbad?
Callaway's here.
Are there more than one?
In high school, I had a friend's dad who worked for Titleist.
In San Diego?
Yeah, I don't know if TaylorMade's still here, but there's a lot of golf companies here.
Got it.
All right, question number 2. What sport did Steve Yzerman play?
Ah, interesting. Otherwise known as Stevie Y.
What'd you say, Jason? I can't hear you. Say it one more time.
Football.
Stevie Y.
Sorry, Jason.
I'm pretty sure he's a Hall of Famer. He was that good in the National Hockey League. Stevie Yzerman was
Jason.
really good. I want to see if he was a Hall of Famer. Played for the Red Wings.
Oh, I was trying to think of what team, but
yeah.
While
Red
you do
Wings.
that, I'm going to get the other Jason on the phone. Hello, Jason, number 2.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
Hey, Jason number 2 here. Good afternoon, gents.
Good afternoon
Hey,
to
Jason.
you.
2.
Are you ready to play?
I am ready. And by the way, go Seahawks over your Niners. Sorry.
Oh, Chris, he just stabbed me through the heart.
Yeah, I know that.
He just stabbed me through the heart.
Seahawks are taking advantage
But
of the
guess what?
Niners' flailings.
I can't say anything. So I'm just going to get into the game.
You know that I know you know this, but I'm going to underscore it anyway.
What?
The Niners lost at home to every team in their division this year. Man, that you could not have predicted that.
No, you can't. All right. What is the name of the NFL draft pick who is selected last in the draft?
Kind of like San Francisco 49ers, except not team irrelevant, Mr. Irrelevant.
I picked up the wrong Jason, Chris. Good job, Jason. You are moving on to question number 2.
Steve Yzerman, one last quick note, is a member of the
still
Hall
on
of Fame.
Steve
No, I wanted
Yzerman.
to make sure he's in the Hall of Fame, and he is.
All right. In January 2019, Nike announced that it would become the exclusive uniform maker of what major American sports league? Say it one more time. I can't hear it. Can
I
you
know.
hear
I'm
it?
struggling to hear it as well.
One more time. I can't hear you.
Yeah, we're struggling with it, Jason.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Now we can.
What sport?
Okay. I'm just going to throw out football.
Football.
Oh, no.
No, it's not.
All right, what's the question? Nike.
In January 2019, Nike announced that it would become the exclusive uniform maker beginning with the 2020 season for what major American sports league?
Baseball? I don't know,
Baseball.
really. Ah,
Correct.
sorry about that.
Sorry,
You know
Jason.
what was weird last year? Remember the uniform controversy at the beginning of the year?
Yes.
It just went away.
No, it didn't.
It didn't?
They
Did they change the uniform? I
No,
don't
they
ever remember
agreed that
anything
they were gonna make better uniforms for this year, but everybody just kind of had to stick with the other ones.
But they didn't seem to bother anybody last year after.
Well, I think they
We
knew
got
that
over
they were
it.
gonna, and they made adjustments throughout the season.
Gotcha.
You know, maybe using a little bit thicker material instead of letting
Yes,
people
it was a
see
little-
through your pants.
It was a little much. at the
It was a
beginning.
lot much.
It was risque.
All right. We're going to go tiebreaker.
Oh.
We're going to go with Steve Yzerman if you've closed that page, or did you look at any of his stats?
No, I just went to see if he was a Hall of Famer.
All right. Steve Yzerman is going to be
Steve
our guy.
Yzerman is our guy, Hall of Fame player for the Detroit Red Wings.
Don't know I've ever been to hockeyreference.com.
There it is.
All right, let's go.
It's
Give me
there
a number.
for you.
1 through 6.
Let's go with number 6 today.
6. Evan.
Hi, Evan.
Howdy do, gentlemen.
Howdy do.
All right, I know Evan knows how to play the tiebreaker.
I hope you win it, Evan.
I'm going to ask Chris a question. He's going to give me a number. Evan's going to guess whether the actual number is higher or lower than what Chris said.
This is a tough one.
Here we
You're
go.
going to ask me how many goals did he score in his career?
He played 22 seasons.
Yeah, I know he did. He had a ton of goals. I don't know how many he had.
I guess I'll go with goals.
513.
Where?
Can you not find it?
There's like 7 different goal categories.
Oh, well, I can't help you there. You're going to have to figure it out on your own.
Okay. Maybe I'm in the wrong. Okay, this is bad.
Do you need me to look it up for you?
No, this is bad though. I've never. There's no stat for like total goals. There has to be, I know, but I'm not seeing it right now. Even strength goals.
Yeah.
Power play goals,
Yeah.
shorthanded goals,
Yeah.
game-winning goals.
I'm looking for him here. I'm looking at his page right now to help you. Look
All
at the very first scoring, and there's right there G. Goes all the way down. See how many goals he's had?
But why does it say goals over there?
Because it's goals are just different kinds of goals. They break down as goals. I said he scored 513 career goals. Is that number higher or lower, Evan?
I'm very
I think it's
embarrassed.
got to be higher.
It is way higher, Evan. Nice job. 692. Stevie Y was really, really good.
Do you know what I thought the G was?
No.
Games.
Well, that's next to it. That's GP, games played.
I know.
And then next is goals.
I know. I'm
Anyway,
not a hockey
Yzerman
guy.
was an unbelievable player. That's a good
Stay
one.
there, Evan.
That's a winner for you, Evan. Nice job. I just guessed off the top of my head. I was not as close as I thought. But, yeah, Yzerman was wasn't bad. Wasn't bad. All right, very good.
I'm very embarrassed by this.
Yeah, you're just...
It said goals. I looked in the goals category. You think the goals would be in the goals category. It wasn't. It's like going to the grocery store and being like, I need to get some cereal. I'm going to go to the cereal aisle. And when you get to the cereal aisle, the cereal's not there. It's over in the card aisle.
Steve Yzerman, all-time, 10th most goals in NHL history.
Wow, that's a lot.
You picked a hell of a player out.
I did.
Yeah, you probably didn't realize he was that good.
No, I didn't.
We're going to take a quick time out here. We still got a Big Five coming up.
Yes.
Tony will actually is involved in that, so we'll be hearing from him again. We have our countdown in the 5 o'clock hour. I think it's a good one today. And it's related to last night's 49er loss, so we'll look ahead to that as well.
From the 90s.
To Gwynn and Chris. Pretty good NFL weekend coming up. Lions and Bills. I'll ask you, Scraby. I know you hate the Lions, but I think you just hate them because they're better than your team. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this is a Super Bowl preview?
Yes.
Lions, Bills.
It's either
like, are the Bills going to actually get there this time?
Yes, I think the Bills. Josh Allen has that magic look to him this year. I think the Eagles could. I think Saquon has been good enough this year to take the Eagles to the Super Bowl, but the Lions are very good.
Lions.
Their
lost.
Defense is not as good.
Who did the
though.
Lions lose to? Trivia.
It was the first week of the year, right?
Second week.
Second week of the year. I don't remember.
Buccaneers beat them in
Random.
Detroit.
Random.
It's the only loss they've had. All right. Bills Lions, great game. Should be a lot of fun. Bills have gone over their team total 11 of their 13 games this year. So they're always playing high scoring, wild games. This should be the same.
Don't you get that look from Josh Allen that he is a new
I've had
guy?
it before, though. That's the thing that scares me.
But he doesn't. He's never looked this good.
He should be the MVP right now.
I
He had
agree.
6 TDs last week, 3 running, 3 passing.
Oh, I know, Chris.
Yeah, that's right.
Your wife had him in fantasy and
knocked
he beat
you
me.
out of there. The other big game is the Steagles. Do you know that one year during the war, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Philadelphia Eagles combined forces?
Yes, we talked about this like a long time
we did,
ago,
okay,
actually.
Yeah. And the team and the name was the Steagles. Well, this year week it's the Steelers and the Eagles. 10-3 versus 11-2. The Eagles haven't lost in ages. When's the last time they lost?
I think they've won like 8 in a row.
I think 9.
9 in a row?
I want to look them up.
Last time they lost. I'm not very good at these.
Yeah, I'm going slow right now. I'm usually a little quicker at coming up with this stuff. Some Eagle fan out there is yelling at the radio. You know who the Eagles lost to? The Falcons by 1 point. And the Buccaneers also.
Wow.
Buccaneers beat both those teams.
Jeez, that's kind of crazy.
That is pretty crazy. Eagles have won 9 in a row. I don't know that the Steelers can stand up to the Eagles.
I don't think so.
Although
either.
A.J. Brown is kind of making a lot of Debo-type complaints, which I don't like if I'm the Eagles. Just be quiet. Get open. They'll throw you the ball.
Apparently, there's
he's really upset because he's not getting the ball. The Eagles aren't throwing the ball. They're just running, and they don't need to throw it.
The problem with complaining when you've won 9 in a row is that you make it all about you when your team has won 9 in a row.
By the way, the Steelers are underdog in this game. They've won their last 7 straight games straight up as underdogs, the Steelers. The second longest streak in the last 50 years. So keep an eye on that.
All right.
Chiefs and Browns, I wanted to get this in. Chiefs are 12-1. They're 10-0 in one-score games. Who are the only two teams the Chiefs beat by more than one score this year? One is the Saints. The other is?
The 49ers.
Yeah, 49ers. Sorry about that, Scrape.
Sorry, I can't remember. Oh, yeah, it was Patrick Mahomes faking to go out of bounds and then coming back inbounds. We'll never forget that.
Always bringing up something memorable for you.
Well, my season's over. This is the last day I really get to talk about the 49ers until next September.
I get one more comment on the Dolphins before they lose to the Texans. Dolphins have never won a game in Houston. So we'll see if they can.
How many have they played, do you know?
5.
That's it?
Yeah, the Texans haven't been around for that many years. Dolphins have never won there. All right, that's a little look at the NFL on Sunday. It's going to be a good weekend. Packers and Seahawks Sunday night. And these are the kind of things you and I have to look at because our teams are, can't look forward to our teams.
Yeah, I know. And people are going to be so happy when today's over and they don't have to hear me complain.
Yeah, that's it. We don't have to talk 49. Although, the sad thing is next weekend,
Dolphins
49ers and Dolphins play each other.
In the toilet bowl.
Yeah. A game we were really fired up for when the schedule came out.
Yeah, not anymore.
Not so much anymore. All right, Big Five's next. Stick around.
See.
says, get to the Big Five ASAP. I believe that stands for as soon as possible.
It does.
Yes, it does. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Scraby, traffic check, then ASAP.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Vicki Pepper.
This report brought to you by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. 5 North at Del Mar Heights, still got this wreck on the shoulder, going to cost you about 20 minutes. 163 South at Claremont Mesa, someone lost a tent in the number 3 lane. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change centers. You don't have to get out of your car, and it usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Vicki Pepper with Gwen and Chris on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, so we're going to start not with a sports topic today, everybody. It's been a tough day for the old Scrabe man over here, so I wanted to go in a different direction with how we started this Big Five today. So here we go. Let me get the number for you guys.
Number 5.
And Chris, you're going to be up first.
Thank you.
It may sound like this is a number 1 question, but this is actually much more important than a number 1 question in the Big Five because this affects all Californians, every single one of us.
Okay.
If you didn't know, starting on January 1st, there's a new California law that's going to get enforced, which will make it illegal to park within 20 feet of a crosswalk, instantly eliminating nearly 100,000 parking spots from the state. San Francisco alone is losing 14,000 parking spots and doesn't even have the budget to paint the curbs red to tell people not to park there. Do you guys know why this law is being enacted?
Let's hear it.
The law is being enacted to help cut down on crosswalk injuries and deaths. So, Chris, do you think this is the way to go?
You sound very angry right now.
He doesn't say.
Where am I supposed to park now?
I can tell that you love this idea. Let's start by saying this. I do not like crosswalk injuries, and I don't like crosswalk deaths.
You don't?
No. Having said that, we all need a place to park, and there's more and more cars than ever before. Were we given the opportunity to vote on this, Mr. Scraby, or was this just
I don't believe so.
enacted?
I don't believe so. I think it was just enacted.
Yeah.
And there's budget issues with this too, right? I mean,
well, yeah, they don't even have the money to paint the curbs red, telling people not to park there, and then they're going to ticket you and take all your money. So yes, I'm upset with this.
Of course, this has to do mostly with parallel parking, not backing in. Or
it can be both. They can parallel parking.
I guess so, but I'm thinking this is more of a parallel parking situation.
No, it's within 20 feet of a crosswalk.
Yeah, I get it, but that's mostly when you're parallel parking. That's not a back-in situation on the street.
Okay, on the street.
Right, backing in and going in forward is usually in a parking lot. Yeah, that's a hang with them for every single person in California. I mean, that's it. Evidently, do we know how many people died in crosswalk accidents, and how many of them actually died while somebody was parking? I mean,
that's a great question.
Like I could get the fact that people.
Hold on. It's not the parking that killed these people. It's the cars that are over. They're parked so close to the end of the curb you can't see around the car, so someone, runs in front of the car.
Well, I have an idea. How about before you run out into the middle of the street, you
look both ways?
Look both ways. I learned that when I was 3 years old, if not sooner. I've said this a lot before. It sounds a little like I don't care. But just because one kid falls off a skateboard and cracks his head open, I don't know that every kid has to wear a helmet. Now, I understand it. In the long run, it's a very good idea, but we all seem to survive just fine without helmets. We even survived without seatbelts, but that's another story. So it seems like this is, I guess my bottom line answer, this seems like an overreaction. And it's going to be very inconvenient. How many parking spots is that, Scrape? 24,000 parking spots?
Where did you get that number? 100,000.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, even more. I mean,
it's tough.
I kind of, am with Chris on this. I think it's a little bit of an overreaction to some really unfortunate things. I don't know that there needs to be a knee-jerk reaction of slashing 100,000 parking spaces in a place that, quite frankly, needs every parking space that they got.
Our cars are our lives.
Right.
We don't have any public transportation pretty much in this state.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, I'd hate to sound like I'm being like I don't have
right. I don't care about the people who died in crosswalks.
Because I certainly do, but it seems a little bit of an overreaction, I must say.
I have an idea. How we can just make this more ridiculous than ever.
I'm guessing your idea is more ridiculous than this.
Yes. How about making it a felony to park within 20 feet of a crosswalk like they probably would do in Ohio?
Hey, I'm for it. All right, well, everybody watch out for January 1st.
NBA news and Thomas's NBA news and
He'll give you the...
What was that, guys?
That was you singing Odd Thomas's NBA news and
Did you see this? It started on its own.
I liked it.
There's a
of
ghost in this computer.
There's a gremlin. All right, keep going here.
I know. I gotta get moving.
That was a nice interlude.
Number 4.
It wasn't a great one. Juan Soto was officially introduced as a member of the New York Mets during a news conference yesterday at Citi Field, and many are commenting on a picture of Juan Soto that makes him look like he actually ate Mr. Met. Have you guys seen this photo? Because it's amazing. Yankees fans, though, are really talking about one thing. Soto said that he did not talk to his Yankees teammates in free agency. Here he is talking about it yesterday.
You been in touch with anybody from your former team, and can you share what those conversations with your now former team, the Yankees, and could you share what those conversations might have been like?
I haven't talked to any of those guys. Definitely, we talked to them through at the end of the playoffs, but after that, I make these processes. I haven't talked to any of those.
All right, so he said he hasn't talked to anyone else. Tony, does this tell you anything? Because you know that my mind went to one thing, is that...
What did your mind go to?
My mind went to, he does not care about anyone except for Juan Soto.
Yeah, listen, free agency is a very personal thing, and some guys include their teammates in it, and there are plenty of guys who don't talk to anybody during that time. That's a personal choice. Maybe Juan didn't want to be influenced any one way. He wanted to just look at because as he said in that press conference, it really just boiled down to the fact that the Mets pushed a little bit harder at the end. He said the Yankees were right there. He said really all 5 teams were right in the thick of it, but he chose the Mets. He felt like for the 15 years he was going to be there, that they gave him the best chance to win. And so I don't have I know that's where, the Juan Soto haters are going to go is, that he didn't care about anybody, but it's quite frankly, it's his and his family's decision anyway. It shouldn't really be skewed one way or the other by teammates. Again, some guys choose to go that route where they may call a teammate that they're close to and really kind of bounce some things off of them. Some guys don't, and Juan Soto appears to be on the latter side. So, what was the original question? What do I think about this?
No, it was what does it tell you, but you kind of already answered.
That's what it tells me.
Chris?
I'm going to abstain.
What? Wait a second. What?
I'm going to abstain because if I get started on this, I'm going to go on some long, gigantic harangue about Juan Soto and how he's above the rest of his teammates and how he doesn't care about anybody but himself and how it's pretty obvious that his Yankee teammates didn't care about him. Nobody reached out to him since the end of the season either. It's not surprising to me. Juan Soto, to me, as I've said many times, is a diva. And I think this is how divas go about doing things.
Okay.
So I'm going to abstain from anything further because I respect the fact that Tony loves Juan Soto.
Here's the picture, Chris.
Yeah, he's looking like he's going to have a baby there. What's going on?
Oh, bad angles, everyone.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Recent numbers for NBA ratings have come out, and according to a report, NBA ratings are down 48% since 2012, and they're down 28% this year alone on ESPN, while most other sports leagues are actually setting ratings records. So, Chris, why do you think less people are watching the NBA?
Yeah, I'm not sure about this. I saw these numbers. I know that the NBA Cup numbers are down. I think the NBA Cup is part of the reason for it, only because it's confusing a lot of people. I think last year we thought it was kind of fun and it was new and it was exciting. But now that they're doing it again, I don't think it's really having the desired effect. But the game itself is what is causing me pause. I don't think that this is keeping other people from watching it, but as somebody who really likes the game of basketball and loves to watch the flow and the movement and the players all working in concert together on offense to create open shots, I've said it many times. I think the league has turned into a one-on-one, find yourself a three-point shot and let it fly. And that's what the Celtics did, and that's why them winning last year, I think, was bad for the game. So I don't think it's as fun. I don't think it's as enjoyable to watch, but I'm not sure that that's why people aren't watching. Because do they know that it's not as enjoyable? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are so many people staying away? I think that's an issue that the league better figure out.
I don't know. I'm not sure. This time last year, we were having a different conversation about the ratings and the NBA. And the game hasn't changed at all from last year to this year. I think maybe the fact that the World Series was what it was in terms of Yankees, Dodgers, and then you transfer that right into the NFL season. I'm not sure. I don't know that there's a good answer. I think maybe some confusion with the new TV rights deal. People maybe not knowing where to find it. All the hubbub about TNT not being a part of the NBA. I'm not sure where the drop has come. Nothing major has happened that would cause it. This may just be a one-off. So, but I'm sure the NBA is paying close attention to it, though.
I think also maybe the star players are not as likable to fans right now as they have been in the past. I don't think there's anything wrong with the current star players. Steph Curry seems as likable as any player in the history of the game. But perhaps, I don't know, because
you know it may be that
I'm not sure. I mean, don't we love Luka Doncic? Don't we love Jokic? Don't we? I mean, why? I mean, LeBron still seems like he's got support. It's weird.
I don't know. This is a weird one to me for sure. Maybe the stars are getting older now, and really, who are the next set of stars? It's really tough to kind of figure it out. It goes back to it goes back to kind of the hate that you saw to the USA national team winning it, right? I mean, that's the star of all stars there put together, and nobody was really on board with Team USA for whatever reason. So I don't know. Maybe there's some carryover effect. I'm sure we'll get more information as we go along.
Adam Silver's a smart guy. He's going to have to be smart on this one.
Number 2.
During NFL games, you see a lot of players doing advertisements, but you really see a lot of Christian McCaffrey doing advertisements. And we know that he's basically spent his entire year hurt. So here's my question, guys. Every time I see one of his commercials, outside of like Uber Eats, because that's not a big deal, but when I see his commercials, I cringe a little bit because he has not played this year, and he's doing like a health food commercial or a protein bar commercial or something like that. I can already feel Tony on this one. If you are a company, Tony, who did an ad with Christian McCaffrey or any other player who is hurt for the season, would you consider pulling that ad and doing another one?
Absolutely not. In a lot of cases, those ads are filmed prior to season or prior to date that we're getting to see them. And if I am the company, regardless of whether you hurt or not, I already paid you to do these things. So I definitely want you to do them, and we'll figure out you being hurt down the road. But I paid for these ads, and I'm going to need you to limp through them as best you can while you're hurt and give me my money's worth.
Yeah, it's bad luck for the companies. I mean, it
really-
just is.
it's part of the risk.
It's part of the risk. I would pull the commercials if Christian McCaffrey was willing to give back some of the money, but I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen. So I might as well get my money's worth and put the commercials in. This sounds like a question from a bitter 49er fan, frankly. I don't think there's anyone else on earth who's even thought of this.
Really?
Other than bitter 49er fans.
Really? You don't think about this? Whenever I see an injured
No,
player...
you think about
No,
this.
whenever it doesn't matter
You
if it's
think about
if
this.
it's Christian McCaffrey or not.
You think about this.
Chris is, again, wrong. Because this is an opinion that is shared by many, not just me.
Yeah, many 49er fans.
No, that's not true. I can't wait until Tua has another injury and then he's doing like a Hooked on
He hasn't
Phonics
done
or
any
something.
commercials.
A fan, yeah, that should tell you something, Chris.
What does it tell me?
He's not good enough for commercials.
All right.
Brock Purdy has a commercial.
On
Never
we
mind,
go.
never mind.
We digress.
A fantasy football player out there posted a situation they had in their league. 2 teams in the final regular season week of the year were facing off against each other. The winner went to the playoffs, and another team gets in as well. So one of those 2 teams is going to lose a chance at the playoffs. However, these 2 teams looked at the standings and saw if they tied, they would both make the playoffs. So they benched all their players, tied at 0 for the week, kicking out a player and letting in the 2 players who benched their players. There were no written rules about this, so that's what they cited as a reason for doing this. Chris, is this against the rules, even though there isn't a rule written for it?
It's chicken bleep. I don't have anything further to say. I mean, I'm tired of people doing little crap like this. It's along the lines of people who are out of the running, going in and picking up players on the free agent wire to keep, teams in the playoffs. I mean, I don't get why people have to take this so seriously.
Tony?
This would get an instant get out of my court. Because
Tony, would you kick those 2 players out of our league?
They
if
would be
did that?
kicked. They would be kicked out of the league.
I wouldn't invite them.
I
back.
wouldn't even
Either of
necessarily
them.
give it to a vote right here because this is straight up like sabotaging in order to get them into the playoffs by not playing, by not competing, and so for that matter, you're trying to play little games with the playoffs. You're gonna be gamed out of the league.
Here's a perfect example of why this is ridiculous, and it has to do with you. Because you, Scraby, were trying to get into the playoffs last week.
Yeah.
You needed my godson, Connor, who was completely out of the running, to win.
Yeah.
How would you have felt if he just benched everybody and let my wife win so she could get into the playoffs?
Here's the thing.
He would have been furious.
I mean, come on. I mean, you would have lost your mind.
Here's the thing.
He at least tried to win.
Here's
didn't, but
the
he tried.
thing. Connor is an upstanding human being. I knew he was going to try. I didn't have any question. But if he did that, yeah, I would be angry. I would be extremely angry. But when 2 teams agree on something that's not in the rules, I don't think you can get mad if it's not in the rules. No one said
in the rules for Connor to bench everybody. He could have done that very easily.
You absolutely can get mad. You absolutely can, regardless of whether the rules, because I think we all assume when we all sign into play that everybody is going to act accordingly. And if you decide get in cahoots with the other guy in the league and say, you know what, let's not put anybody in our lineup. Let's pull one of these deals where we get our both selves into both our teams into the playoffs, and we'll basically,
we had something.
Can't think of a better word.
Yeah,
we'll mess up this situation from other guy.
We had something not exactly that in our baseball fantasy a couple of years ago, where the 2 teams that were in first and second place pulled shenanigans the final month of the season.
And I remember this.
And did things that none of the other of us even imagined somebody in their position would do. And it was set up to give themselves a huge advantage for the following season. And we just kicked them out of the league. and that's just what I think. I mean, if it means that much, you get in a league with other idiots who would pull something like that.
Didn't you get into an email fight with this person?
One of them I did, but so everyone else hated them as well. So
I
it
was
know. An easy decision.
They were doing
out.
chicken bleep stuff.
Yeah, and this is chicken bleep too.
All right, that's it for the Big Five. When we get back, we got the happy hour, the final hour of the week for 97.3 The Fan. Stick with us.
The fall is one of my favorite times of the sports year because so much is happening, from winter Padres news to the NBA, NHL, and our local teams. We'll cover it all for you on Annie and Elston, weekdays 10 to 2 on 97.3 The Fan.
The San Diego Rodeo returns to Petco Park in 2025. Enjoy this 3-day family-friendly event, January 10th through the 12th, featuring some of the world's top rodeo athletes. Plus, new this year, stay late for our daily rodeo after parties with live music and other activities. Grab your boots and round up your friends for this cultural experience. It's fun for the whole family. Secure your tickets at Padres.com/rodeo.
Friday. There actually would be a Friday next week.
Well, it is the final Friday,
And
Chris,
there'll be
because
another one the week after.
it's Friday the 13th.
Ooh, it is. Why are you not wearing one of your famous Friday the 13th shirts? You always wear those on Friday the 13th.
Well, I can't wear the Friday the 12th shirt, the Sad Jason shirt, because it's not Friday the 12th.
It's actually Friday the 13th.
It
That's
is.
right.
It is.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
I'm actually wearing your shirt that you bought me. Though I like horror movies and like 3 other people.
I do. I remember buying you that.
Yeah, that's my Friday the 13th
You said you
shirt.
liked it, and
I
I
did.
just went and bought it.
And I'm
'Cause
wearing
that's-
it.
That's the kind of thing that I do for somebody that people think I hate. People
Yes.
think I hate you, but it's really not true. It's not true.
Sometimes it is.
Moment to moment, yeah. Obviously, the news of the day, really it's about this 49er guy. He's still there. Apparently, Devondre Campbell, if you didn't hear the story, he's the 49er linebacker who was asked to go into the game in the third quarter last night after Dre Greenlaw tweaked his leg injury. Devondre Campbell had been starting all year in place of Dre Greenlaw, but Greenlaw got his job back last night. Campbell, I guess, was none too happy about it. When he was asked to go back in the game, Campbell refused. At the end of the third quarter, he walked off the field, went back to the locker room. 49er players and coaches and everybody around the NFL has been lambasting this guy to no end today. Tony and I have been doing the same. There's no other way to look at it. There's just no other way to look at it. Kyle Shanahan says he's gone, but he's not gone yet. My guess is they just haven't figured out
They have to do like roster
how
stuff.
to do it the right way in terms of not leaving themselves open.
Like
But,
you said earlier, because I don't know if this is enough for him to never get a job in the NFL again.
It's enough
just because
for
the
me to never
NFL
give
looks
him
the
one.
other way all the time.
Yeah, they look the other way when you you're involved in crime.
When you drive 150 miles an hour drunk.
This is something I don't think you can overcome. I don't
Which
think
is
you can
the
overcome
craziest thing in the world.
In a lot of ways.
You can drive drunk going 150.
Yeah, we'll give you a second chance. Come on back.
But you walk out on your team, and that's the thing.
Yeah, pretty sure.
I mean, that's a little backwards to me. Walking out of your team is pretty bad, but it's backwards to me.
49ers season is over. Dolphins have
still mathematically
Dolphins
eligible.
have a couple of days left in their season. Then you don't have to hear from either of us
ever again on this.
There really is not a whole lot of football news. A couple of quick player notes. Get you ready, perhaps during your fantasy football playoffs this week. Kenneth Walker, Seahawks, doubtful for Sunday Night Football. George Pickens, Steelers, no-go on Sunday. Justin Herbert, going to be back for the Chargers. He took a beating the other night in Kansas City.
He's not going to survive a full
Doesn't
career.
look like it. Yeah,
if he takes these hits,
he took
week
some,
after week.
takes some big hits. He's going to play,
and he's huge too. I don't know if you've seen
big
him
guy.
in person. I saw him in person one time. He's 6'6", 250.
Yeah, but they're chopping him down bit by bit. I agree with what you're saying, Scrabe. He will play this week against the Buccaneers. Dolphins, OBJ. He won't be playing this weekend or any other.
Okay, so what's your
Miami cut him.
Dolphin people saying? Is it because he was complaining about not getting the ball or
No,
something?
because he stinks. I mean, this was stupid in the first place. I've told you so many times, Miami is attracted to shiny objects. They're not attracted to guys in the middle of the line who have a lot of grit and can play in the snow. Give me OBJ. We'll give him $3 million.
I was also thinking about this earlier today because Tyreek Hill has had a pretty terrible year.
Yeah.
And it all started with him getting detained.
Tackled on the opening day. Yeah.
Before the first game of the season. So both of our teams, Chris, had bad omens. Yours was Tyreek Hill being stopped by the police. Mine was Christian McCaffrey surprising everyone and being out for the year, basically. Bad omens.
Hasn't helped. Christian McCaffrey. Baseball, couple of deals today worth mentioning. Astros trade Kyle Tucker to the Cubs. Isaac Paredes, Hayden Wesneski, and a prospect come back to the Astros. Astro fans are none too happy about parting with Kyle Tucker. And the Yankees have acquired themselves one of the best closers in the game, Devin Williams from the Brewers, goes to the Big Apple. NBA, Lakers try to move on tonight without LeBron James.
What do you think's going on there?
I'm going to try to think that this is a good time in the schedule for him to take some time off.
Doesn't saying personal reasons create some more questions than anything?
It does. But if they say we're giving him some time off because he's kind of old and we want to rest him, that doesn't look very good either.
True.
So the lesser of two evils is to say there's some personal business. I'm going to hope that's it.
Yeah.
I don't wish that to be any more. But the Lakers are in Minnesota tonight. Their 13-11 record would seem to be in jeopardy. 13-12 seems to be right around the corner for the Lake Show. Cleveland's leading Washington, as you might expect, 55-46. Second quarter, the Cavs have the best record in the league. The Wizards have the worst. All right. Scrape, we got college football? No, we don't, because it's Army, Navy, and bowl season doesn't really kick into gear until next week. So we've got our countdown coming up in this segment. We're also going to do our interview of the week, which is a really good one earlier in the week with Ruben Niebla. Enjoyed that one very much.
Yes. Dylan Cease's name. Oh, wait. One thing before we get into Dylan Cease.
Okay.
The 5 o'clock football hour is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, where B-Dubs is football. Visit Buffalo Wild Wings every Friday for half-priced apps and $2 off all tall drafts. I am starving, Chris, so those half-priced apps sound delicious.
I'm starving right now also. I mean, I'm gonna get out of here so I can get to the party on time. Christmas party tonight starts when our show ends.
It does. Which
So-
is the better way to go about it. You don't want to be the first person at the party.
When I'm this hungry, I do.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Dylan Cease, a lot of fans I'm seeing are just disenchanted with the idea of the Padres trading
I
Dylan
get it.
Cease.
I get it. I don't like trading my really good players. I don't. I think part of it has to do with the Juan Soto haul. It worked. Dylan Cease is only going to be controlled for one more year, right? Then after next year, he's going to be able to ask for some ungodly amount of money that the Padres aren't going to be able to pay. This is why they're looking at this. Same reason why Luis Ariza's name has come up. Same exact thing. Both guys could play for the Padres this year and then walk at the end of the year, and the Padres would get nothing in return. This is why when you're a smaller market team that doesn't have the same television revenue, and never will, by the way, as the Dodgers, Yankees, etc., you have to consider stuff like this. I agree with you, though. I don't want to trade Dylan Cease. How is that going to make me better? Doesn't sound like it can actually be the case. But if let's say he goes to the Orioles, which is the team that it seems to be rumored, the Orioles have some really good young guys. What if you get 2 or 3 of them? And the same thing happens as last year. And then Dylan Cease plays for the Orioles 1 year and leaves in free agency, just like Juan Soto left the Yankees. Right now, the Yankees have nothing. The Padres have Michael King and Cease for the moment.
Yep.
Which, was part of the deal because of Drew Thorpe. Anyway.
Let me see what
That's why it makes sense to think about it, but I agree with those people who are not exactly excited about it.
Do you see? Let me see his market value. They're saying he could sign, this is way under, but 5 years, $110 million. He's
at the end of the year?
Yeah, I think he'll be 5 years.
$20 million a year more? $25 million?
Well, this year's an important year for Dylan Cease and for his contract.
They all are, yeah, because they only remember what you did the last year before your free agency.
Like Luis Castillo, he's got a 5-year contract, $108 million. I feel like he's underpaid.
Than him. Cease is better than him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with this. It's December 13th. I'm frustrated like a lot of you. I'd love to have somebody to be excited about with the Padres, somebody new, but I gotta hold up and see what AJ, does when it's all said and done.
I agree. I just can't.
Look who that is right there. Do you even know who that is on TV right there? You don't know Mark Gastineau, do you?
No, who is he?
Well, that's Mark Gastineau, but he looks awful. What he looks like.
I was like,
He used to play for the Jets.
Oh, yes, I do know of him.
He had the long hair. He was one of the first guys who jumped up and down every time he sacked a quarterback and brought a lot of attention to himself.
He definitely looks a lot better in his playing days.
Yeah, and he used to hold the single season sack record until Brett Favre fell down and gave the record to Michael Strahan.
Is that how you're going to phrase that?
That's what happened.
Okay.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, our countdown, long awaited. Tony's in on it. I think it's a good one. It's after traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Vicky Pepper.
163.
One quick note, Travis Hunter is in New York for the Heisman Award presentation tomorrow. Hunter's going to win it. Ashton Genty's going to have to just have a hang with them. I think that's how that'll turn out. But they asked Travis Hunter about Coach Prime and his future with the Colorado Buffaloes. Travis Hunter guarantees Coach Prime staying in Colorado.
Really?
He said, I got a lot of insight. He ain't going nowhere.
Just wait until some NFL team comes calling with lots of money.
We'll see how long that holds up, Travis.
I actually believe Dion.
You do?
I don't know if I believe Bill Belichick, but I believe Dion. Because Dion.
Oh, you don't believe Belichick? You think Belichick would leave North Carolina like that?
I don't know. He seems to be in a place where he wants to stay.
I think he just wants to coach. They're giving them the chance to coach. Why is he doesn't need to go to the NFL again. He's done everything there.
They asked him something about he didn't want to. He was never mind. Go forward. Never mind. I was going to butcher that anyway, and it was going to confuse a lot of people and blah blah blah.
All right, here's our countdown. We had some fun with it.
It's now time for Gwynn and Chris to rank their top 5 of the day.
Gonna grip and rip as usual.
But this isn't just a regular top 5 list.
I love it. It sounds sadistic, but I love it.
This is the countdown. And it starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, time for our countdown. Wrapping up the week. Every Friday we come up with a topic. We count down our top 5 in that topic. And you know, as we've told you in the past, we've probably done every potential category that any of us can ever think of. So every Friday, it becomes a bit of a struggle sometimes to find topics. But it wasn't a struggle for Scraby to find this topic today. And when you hear the topic, you'll know that he's the one who came up with it. Today's countdown, the top 5 worst feelings in sports. I wonder if this was triggered in any way, Tony, by the result of the 49ers game last night.
I think that answers your question. That game show ding right there gives you all the answers you need.
All right, so the 5 worst feelings in sports. Scraby, why don't you go first since this was your topic?
Number 5.
All right, well, thank you, Chris. I had a hard time ranking these because I went through all of them last night.
You don't like them all?
I went through all of them last night.
Yeah, and so all 5 of them would be number 1 if you could?
Yeah.
Right.
This one though is bitter. It's not bittersweet. It's just a bummer. But when a star player on your team gets hurt or goes down and you see him on the field and you have that realization like, oh no, our best player is now hurt, he's out, our season might be over. That realization that your star player is seriously injured.
It's even worse when some friend of yours the next day at work laughs the fact that Tua Tagovailoa had another concussion.
I did not laugh.
You wanted to. You could see it in your face.
That's right. Tony, or you want me to go?
You go next.
I'll go next. I didn't really. I don't know if I'm doing this different than you guys, but my top. I'm trying to give sports situations. I think one of the more difficult things about competing in sports, and number 5 for me would be a situation where you're completely overmatched and you have no chance. It's a bit of a helpless feeling to go. I played tennis once against a guy in my fraternity, and I didn't realize that he had been on the high school tennis team until we played the first 2 points of our match. And then I realized I'm not going to even I'll be lucky to get a point against this guy. It was so ridiculous that honestly I wanted to go up and just say, you know what, this isn't a good idea. And I think it translates to your favorite team. If your favorite team just isn't very good and they're going up against somebody who's going to kick their butt, that's my number 5 worst feeling. Tony.
Number 5. These all come from, I think, personal experiences as a fan. Number 5 on the list. Repeat fire sales.
A team
that has had a fire sale and started over, and not even within like 3 years has another one and starts over again. Padres did that a few times back in
that was no fun for any of us.
Late 80s, early 90s. That's a pretty rough spot to be in as a fan.
Yeah, and that's a hang with them because as a fan you can't do a whole lot about it other than I guess not show up.
Yeah.
Number 4.
My number 4 is when your team's rival player or the player that talks trash about your team that fans always hate, when that player torches your team and you can't talk any trash. I don't have an example right now, but if I really thought, I think I could find one, but I think everybody understands this one because it stinks when that other player goes off.
I'll do the same one for number 4 because I think it's a really good one, but I'll give you an example of it. How about Terrell Owens scoring a touchdown in Dallas and running onto the Star?
That's right.
There's an example of somebody you hate doing something good and then popping off even more. But you're right. If there's a player on the other side that you don't like, either personally or just because they're a pop-off type player, and they school your team, that's tough to stomach. It makes you really, really angry.
Yeah, Jerry Jones had a short memory because he would later sign T.O. after running to the Star.
Yeah, right.
Number 4 on my list is realizing the core part of your team is beyond their prime.
Oh, boy.
This is one of the harder ones to watch because typically the core are the guys that you tend to like more.
Yeah.
And watching them not be themselves and recognizing that it's not coming back is a very tough thing for a fan and a fan base. I'd say that's number 4 on my list.
Very good one, Tony.
Yeah, I was told many times last night on Twitter that the window is closing for the 49ers, or has closed, sorry. And I think that's what Tony's talking about.
I wasn't, but fine.
No, I know you weren't talking about the 49ers.
No, it's a good example, though, Scraby. Thank you for
the
helping us
window is
out.
closing, and I didn't fall for it.
Number 3.
Even though I had to leave the room. This one's very specific, but I'll broaden it a little bit after I say it. When your team hires Chip Kelly and you know it's going to be a disaster, the 49ers did this, but basically when your team makes a decision that you know is not going to work out and you could see the writing on the wall and it doesn't work out, that's a bad feeling for me as a fan.
All right. Number 3 for me is knowing your team doesn't even have a chance. This is similar to what Tony went to with the fire sale. If you're a Colorado Rockies fan, for instance, I mean, those fans in Denver are great sports fans.
They are.
They love the Broncos. They love the Nuggets. They party in the streets for the Avalanche. And to have an owner that doesn't give you even...
They love the Rockies, too, by the way.
They do,
despite.
right, yeah. To have an owner that automatically is guaranteed to finish in last place every single year. I mean, before the season is even... a month before the season starts. What a terrible feeling that is. And I try to remind the Padre fans right now who get frustrated that this is a great age to be a Padre fan because really for the first time in franchise history, we're in a stretch of 5, 6, 7, 8, hopefully more years where the Padres are relevant.
Yeah, you actually have the right to be frustrated.
Right. Because, at least you have a chance.
Because you have expectations.
The
for
worst
your
is
team.
not having a chance to win.
It had gotten so bad at one point here that people stopped having expectation at all.
Yeah.
And so now we're in a different phase. The next one for me, number 3 on my list, is being stuck in mediocrity. Like, not good enough to you're not good enough as a fan to get far, but you also aren't bad enough to like reap the benefits of being bad, right? Which is you get a high pick or somewhere you're just stuck in mediocrity. That doesn't just affect baseball. I mean, apply to baseball, it applies to basketball especially. Like when you're just kind of stuck in that like 8th seed play-in type area, that really doesn't lead you give you a way to get better.
Sounds like a Chicago Bulls scenario to me, Tony.
Exactly. It sounds a little bit like a Lakers situation
yeah,
too,
them
right
too,
now.
Right, yeah.
Number 2.
This is also specific to something that happened to me yesterday. When you trash talk, supporting your team, and your team does nothing to support you. Like, I put my my fandom on the line yesterday. I was very excited, and my team did not come through for me. It did not, and it's a terrible feeling once you read your Twitter mentions and everybody dancing on your grave.
Yeah, but guess what? You don't have to. That's not something you have to do. That is
read
just
my
something-
Twitter mentions.
No, pop off and act the fool
Hey,
before
everybody
the game even starts.
Everybody wants to support their team. I was trying to drum up some energy for my team, and it didn't work.
Yeah, good try.
It didn't work.
Number 2 for me is choking.
Oh, yes.
That is, I don't know
like the Heimlich kind of choking.
All right, I don't know that anybody really has ever will admit to having done this in the competition of sports. But basically what it comes down to is when you know you're better than somebody and you just do not or cannot perform to the level you need to in order to finish the job. And if your team chokes, that's tough. But I go back to a contest that I had with one of it wasn't my roommate, the next door guys. When I was on the baseball team, we had a bunch of guys that lived in one apartment and a bunch of guys lived in another one. I had a contest with one of the guys from the other apartment, and it came down to who could win 2 out of 3 in bowling. And I don't even remember what the prize was. But we went down to the bowling alley, and in the first game, I beat him like 190 to 90. Like, it was, if you saw
Beat
this,
down.
you know I was a better bowler than him. And I choked the second game, and I choked the third game. I don't know what happened, what came over me. Maybe he intimidated me. I don't know what. But I bowled like an 80 and a 1, whatever. Like 100 pins below my normal average. I choked. And I've never gotten over it. So that's the number 2 one. Yeah, right. I can remember it like it was yesterday, and it was a long time ago.
That's great that you picked choke because I also picked choking as well. And when you're the fan of said team or player that chokes, it's demoralizing.
Yes, if we could bring in a guest on this particular subject, we'd bring Adam Klug in to talk about the Falcons and the Super Bowl.
We would.
That's a number 2 right
that
there.
That is a
sure.
classic idea of choking right there. So, yeah, I agree. Choking is you don't see it often at the highest levels, and there's obviously because you're at the highest level.
Those guys are that good.
But occasionally a human moment happens, and when it does, it is pretty hard not to see.
Number 1.
Yeah, I believe they actually teach what the Falcons did at the end of the Super Bowl in school now is what not to do for a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm just piling on Adam because I feel bad about my team. My number 1, again, came from last night, but it expands everywhere. When you realize that your season is over and you didn't win it all. And last night when Brock Purdy threw that interception with 5 minutes left to go in the game, I thought, that's the season. I don't need to watch anymore.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's not often that we have a big 5, and Scraby has his 5 written down prior to.
The thing is
that's how much he's been stewing on.
Yes, but look at this sheet. He's got 25 things crossed out. I mean, this is how much in his feelings he was last night after that game. That is a miserable feeling, I will say. But I think the worst thing in all of sports, number 1, worst feeling, and it happened in the game last night. And I didn't know it was happening until after the game.
Yeah.
But I think flat out quitting is the worst thing you can do. And I mean, your boy on the 49ers, I mean, I haven't seen any reaction from him.
Hold on,
today.
do not call him my boy.
Well,
he walked off the field.
He's your boy. He was a Niner.
He's a guy on your
He's
team.
still a Niner, actually, right now.
Yeah, that's. Let me tell you something. Quitting is a hard habit to break, and I don't know what happened in this guy's situation. We have had a couple of players on the Aztec basketball team that walked away from this season for their personal reasons. I respect that, but I just know it wasn't the right thing to do. Always compete. Always give it your best shot. If things don't go your way, work a little harder. Sports can teach you so many good life lessons.
Without a doubt.
And, if your season is just going... I saw something on Hard Knocks the other night from Joe Burrow, which impressed me. And they asked him about the last 5 games of the season because they're 4-8 now, and they're pretty much over. And he said, this shows what people are made of right here. This is it. It's easy to get ready to play when you're 8-4.
Yeah.
But show me what you got when you're 4-8. And I think sports can teach you that. But flat out quitting, man, you can never get over something like that.
No, that's going to follow my man for the rest of his life.
There's no doubt.
I mean, just think. We still think about Scottie Pippen, and that turned out well because Kukoc hit that shot. If he didn't hit that shot, we'd be talking about it a lot
Even
differently.
more, yeah.
And it's 30 years ago at this
Pippen
point.
was a Hall of Fame player, and that's the one thing people will bring up.
Without a doubt. And this one is egregious because you actually – can you imagine the tip-off goes on, you guys are bringing the ball up to court, and your shooting guard says, I'm good, and just walks off. That's what makes this different. This is mid-game quit. And so, yes, this has to be number one. It should be number one on all of our lists because at the end of the day, sports can teach you all of those things that you're talking about if you walk through the fire. If you don't, sports is no good to you because it can't give you any of those lessons, but it also will carry over into your regular walk of life.
I think so.
Yeah, no, that's definitely number one, quitting.
You guys are waiting for me to say something. Do you hear my voice crack there?
I know you're choked up after this countdown.
You know, honestly, Kyle Shanahan looked very annoyed after the game. He did. And he also said today he is no longer going to be a part of the 49ers because when you have George Kittle saying you're immature and saying bad things about you in a press conference, you know you messed up.
As I think Ryan Clark made the point. I mean, Ward lost a child this year, and he's out on the field playing.
Yeah.
I don't know what my man is going on in his life, but this is bad.
As we talked earlier, it's all about him filling in for Dre Greenlaw coming back, and then him being sat down. But that was the whole deal the entire season.
That's why this is a terrible look. That's not even a real excuse at the end of the day. All right, we got to get to break. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side.
Hi, San Diego. Head over to Buffalo Wild Wings for the best happy hour around. Get $2 off all tall drafts plus half-price apps Monday through Friday from 4 to 7 p.m. and every night from 10 p.m. to close. Thirsty? Sip on $3 shots, $4 well drinks, and $5 premium liquor. And enjoy the flavor from home with Buffalo Wild Wings Go for takeout and delivery. That's happy hour from 4 to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday and every night from 10 p.m. to close. Buffalo Wild Wings, San Diego's happy hour destination.
When it comes to your business, protect what matters the most with Bay Alarm. We offer commercial security and fire alarm services, including easy access control, AI-enhanced video cameras, and highly trained security specialists. We work with you to design the right security system and send our expert technicians to install it. Worry less about your people and your property with Bay Alarm, because we got you. To learn more, visit bayalarm.com. Again, that's bayalarm.com.
Oh no, my phone.
Hear that? It's the sound of a skater dropping her phone and smashing it on the ice. Yep, it's definitely broken. But at Verizon, we got you. That's right, now's your last chance to trade in any phone, any condition from one of our top brands and get a new Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus on Unlimited Ultimate and Watch 7 and Tab S9 FE 5G. That's up to $1,900 in value. So you'll save big on 3 great gifts. Only at Verizon. Service plan required for watch and tablet. Up to $1,900 value based on phone, watch, and tablet. Trade in and additional terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacy.
come back. 5:39 is the time. Hope you liked our countdown today. I thought it was fun. Scraby, good topic. Next week's countdown probably be top moments of 2024.
Our easiest topic of the year.
Yeah, I already know number one for me.
Triple play?
Rams 12, Niners 6.
Really? That's going to be your number one.
Number one, baby.
Oh, gosh.
Didn't get any better than that last night. All right, Gwynn and Chris. Tony's primping for the holiday party.
Someone told me he's probably getting his hair cut, which is true.
That would take an hour or two.
Yeah.
Scraby and I are on our way to the Christmas party soon, so hold on to some food for us. Before we get there, though, we have our interview of the week, and this was a good one. Not by us, but by the guy we interviewed, Ruben Niebla. The pitching whisperer was on the show. I don't know that I certainly had never interviewed him before.
No, he hasn't done many interviews
He
on the
hasn't done
station.
many. He's certainly, fair to say, Scrape, a little easier to interview than Mike Schilt. Doesn't hold you to quite the same standard as Schilt does.
Yes. You have to be on your game. Ruben Niebla seems like a guy who's just, having fun.
He's the kind of guy that I think we all should be grateful for what what he's accomplished, but at the same time, very confident in his abilities. Here was Tony and I's visit with him. Well, not quite yet. First you get traffic, then Ruben.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Vicky Pepper.
This report brought to you by Scratchers from the California Lottery. Give the gift of play this holiday. 805 South at Mesa College, a wreck in the center divider. Things are stop and go from the 52. If you're looking for the perfect gift, give Scratchers from the California Lottery. With so many to choose from, you're sure to find the right gift for anyone on your list. Give the gift of Scratchers from the California Lottery. A little play can make your day. I'm Vicky Pepper with Gwynn and Chris on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's none other than that pitching whisperer, as they like to call him, Ruben Niebla. Ruben, how are you, my friend? How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Tony. Nice to hear your voice again.
Yes, as always, nice to hear from you as well. Let's just start with the big news rolling around. Former guy on this team, Juan Soto, signs for the biggest deal in sports history. My question to you is, because I think a lot of Padre fans see a lot of the signings that are happening and all the different ways it's going down, and they may start to feel down. Now, I know you as a competitor may look at it a little bit differently. What goes through your mind as perhaps, whether it's the Dodgers, Giants, or any opponent, gets better? What goes through your head?
Well, I think one thing that we know is that you can make moves at any point in the season, right? We saw it last year where we acquired Luis Arraez and Dylan Cease later in the offseason, or very close to the season per se. And so, as you're watching things kind of start developing, you sit and wait and trust that the process is not just happening right now, but it's going to be in the future as well. So, trusting AJ Prowler and the leadership group there in the front office, and I think that the needs are clear of some of the stuff that we need, and they're very aware, and they're working hard at it, and we trust that.
And we trust in you, Ruben Niebla, the Padres pitching coach. How good does it feel to be, I guess, to quote, to be wanted, right? I mean, you're up for a contract. And the Padres, at least from everything we could tell, said, yeah, we definitely want Ruben Niebla back. I think every single Padre fan, right on down to the last fan out in the bleachers, said, we got to have Ruben Niebla. And so I asked, why didn't you hold out for a little more money? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But how good did it feel to be wanted? I mean, you work your whole career to get this opportunity, and it seems people are happy with the job you're doing.
Yeah, it's very humbling, first of all, to hear those words. I'm very happy to be here and holding out for more money. I don't think that was something. Obviously, the negotiations went well. They were easy, and only because there was mutual, just wanting to both sides be on the same page and be back in San Diego. And so it was something that we were able to work out. I'm extremely happy, being the pitching coach of the San Diego Padres. It's something that is like a dream of mine, and obviously I'm living it, being close to home and with a good team that has an opportunity to compete for the World Series on a yearly basis. That's what one wants to be a part of. So very happy to be coming back a few more years, and let's see what we can do with that.
Ruben Niebla joins us here, Padres pitching coach. And Ruben, you've in your tenure here at San Diego, you've had to kind of man different rotations. You've had to work with different managers across the board. No matter who you talk to, you are spoken very highly of. What is it about your style as it pertains to the players that, creates this type of environment in which guys really look forward to coming to the yard to not just work with you, but to be around one another? And that's guys who aren't even in the organization anymore. They consistently say how great it is to work with you. What is it that your style kind of consists of that gets this kind of feedback?
Well, it's pretty cool to can maintain some relationships of guys that have left here and be able to still continue to be friends with them and the guys that we have here. It's a great group, and I think that one of the things that is important to me is that and all players want to do this, is they all want to continue to get better. Regardless. They want somebody to be there with them that can look at them in a different manner, meaning from different angles, from a strength and conditioning, from a biomechanical standpoint, from a training room standpoint, from an analytics standpoint, be able to look at them and say, like, hey, here's an opportunity to get better. Here's an area where we can continue to improve, or if we make this change, we can maybe be better. And so being able to dig into different angles of coaching, I think is a strength of mine, and hopefully that's something that the players can again continue to get improve from. And then the relationship building, I really take pride in making sure that I know these guys, who they are, who their family is, and really care for them. And I really do. I have a great bunch of guys, great group of guys that it's just like they come to the ballpark every day, and we talk about it all the time. You got to have growth mindset when you walk into that clubhouse. Yeah. Just be open to suggestions, be open to thoughts, and be open to sharing those thoughts with not only myself but with one another. And so we try to create that environment in our clubhouse. And again, we have great leaders, and we've had great leaders, and it's been a little challenging. There has been different rotations the last 3 years of core guys, and but again, it's the foundation that has been built that has really helped us, and a big piece of that it has been two guys in particular, and Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove, and they're still around, so we look forward to next year as well.
Ruben Niebla is with us from the Padres, and you mentioned those two guys. I'm going to throw in King, I'm going to throw in Cease for now, and ask you, among the other guys, maybe the younger guys, or just on the guys more on the periphery, not your starting four horses, who are you most excited to continue working with moving forward? Who maybe tops out in your mind, or potentially can still top out in terms of the kind of skill, maybe the kind of natural ability that they have that you're looking to tap into?
Well, I actually look forward to all of them. I'm looking at every single one of them as I'm having conversations with these guys in the off season. We're talking about things of what we're going to do next year to put ourselves in a better position. And you talk about Dylan Cease and his potential, and how are we going to get him to be even better. And we already have some ideas, and And Michael King is the same thing. He's a great communicator. We were just texting this morning again, but you look at Morhone, you look at Robert Suarez. There's going to be some slight adjustments here being made, and it goes like from guy to guy. We're really looking forward to improving from last year, and that's got to be the goal for this off season, is really identifying where the opportunities are and taking advantage of them. So every year something new happens where some guy steps up and is better than the previous year. This year, I think we saw it a little bit in Morhone. And that was a guy that took a step forward, and I really enjoyed the process of working with somebody like Jeremiah Estrada, where we acquired him in the off season. We spent a little time at the lab in January the previous year, and it came out of there and with some new pitches, and it was pretty cool to go through that process. So hopefully there's more of that coming this year.
Ruben, how different is it working with your starters versus your relievers? Because the starters seem like they're in your ear all the time. I mean, I know they're in the dugout during the game, so they have a little more access to you throughout the day. But I imagine the relievers aren't too far off. What is the difference between working with the two sides?
Well, yes, you do spend more time with the starters, I think, because there is work that's being done in between outings as well.
Yeah.
So the bullpen in between outings, there's one-on-one time that you can spend with them. With the relievers, it's a little bit more like, making sure that they're in a good mindset, first of all, making sure that they're feeling good, making sure that their routines are intact, and a lot of support, because at the end of the day, they do spend a lot of time within themselves, that group. And so, I have a great pitching group as well. Our bullpen coach, Ben Fritz, Peter Somerville, Chris Apachea. It's a good group that we have constant communication, and we're making sure that we know exactly where everyone is from a mental standpoint and a physical standpoint. So, just making sure that these guys are coming to the ballpark when they walk in through the doors of the clubhouse, is that they're in a good spot in all the areas that I just discussed. So I think we do a really good job of just communicating with those guys, and the relievers. It's a lot of times it's going by them and it's like, how's everything going? Good. How do you feel? I feel great. Okay, you look great last time. Go do it again. The starters get a little bit more caught up in detailed conversations because they also go out there and they throw 100 pitches an outing. So there's more to digest, there's more to break down, and more, conversation just kind of goes a little bit more in detail there.
Ruben, I hope you don't have anything to do today. We got another 2 hours on the show, and I would love, honestly, to sit and pick your mind the entire time. I do have one last fun thing to ask before we let you go. You are the pitching whisperer. So what does the pitching whisper when you go out to the mound? I mean, look, you got Cease on the mound. He's given up 4 runs, 2 doubles. There's 3 guys on base. The crowd is booing. And they call timeout. Here you come. Now you got to say something. Do you think of it on the way out? Do you write some notes have you ever got out there and not really had anything? How many different speeches do you have there? I mean, that's a tough spot, I would think.
All of the above.
Okay.
Let me tell you, this is probably the most frequent question that I get is, what do you actually tell these guys?
Yeah.
It's everything and anything. When I get out there, I first off, obviously having a feel of who you're going out to talk. Some of these guys, some will need a little bit more of a kick in the butt. Some of them will need a little bit more loving. The game sometimes dictates what the conversation also is going to be about. Is it attacking the next hitter? How are we going to get the next hitter out? Or is it about something else where I just want to distract them from the competition for a little bit, just to relax them a little bit? There's times when I just go out to make sure that we have enough time to get the bullpen ready. And there's a lot of trick of the trades on that. I've used Manny Machado plenty of times to help me with that, and run a little run a little screen on the umpire before he gets to me. But it's different. It's just different. Just the game dictated, player dictated, mood of the game. And there has been times when I've gone out there and I'm just like, hey man, like it's not our day,
Right.
So
right.
Yeah.
we're getting the bullpen ready. You know why I'm out here? And they're like, yeah,
Try not to give up too many more runs while we get the bullpen ready, will you?
Yeah. But I will say this about the trips. I will always remember this trip is and probably I'm not sure if it can be matched. Game against the Dodgers, Suarez first and second, no outs, Ohtani on deck. If we win that game, we clinch the playoff spot. You guys remember that, right?
Yeah, triple play.
And triple play. Yeah. Triple play. It was like, oh my God, I can't believe this just happened. A triple play right after my trip with Ohtani on deck. This is just how we drew it up. But no, it's you live and die with those trips sometimes as well, and that's fine. That's part of the gig.
Well, that trip, as you said, will never be matched again. I don't see that happening. Ruben, happy to have you for however many years we get you, man. Appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us.
Appreciate you guys.
That was Ruben Niebla, Padres pitching coach, earlier this week with us. He was great. The 5 o'clock football hour is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, where B-Dubs is football. Visit Buffalo Wild Wings every Friday for half-priced apps and $2 off all tall drafts.
All right, everybody have a great weekend. We're going to go party, and we'll talk to you Monday.
I'm going to eat so much. I am starving. Bye.
Right behind you.